Hey, welcome. Kind of in the dark here. So tonight's a little different. We don't really have a place to do a live from because we are stuck in a hotel room. Our motorcycle is in the back of a trailer, which we'll talk about in a little while. And so we're in a motel room. Join us in the motel room. And don't know how long we're going to be on tonight. Just want to talk a little bit about Thunder Beach Rally. Let me turn the TV down some more. I thought I had it down low enough, but it's still going.
So Mike's on already. How you doing, Mike? And that was answering him. Yeah, I got to hit this.
That was us talking.
I know. So there you go. I guess I figured out this new
Well, I think it's different.
StreamYard.
I think it's different on. Those are 13 people already on.
Yep, I see 13 up there.
Let me get
Oh,
this
1 minute.
on
So
to.
Big Ben's on. How you doing, Big Ben? Beding from Florida. We're still in Florida, believe it or not. Panama City. And heading to Myrtle Beach tomorrow morning. Well, tomorrow evening we'll be in Myrtle Beach. Steven's going to be picking us up there. And uh, Big Ben said he went to, whoops, geez, this is a pain. Was at the OCC Friday night. So how was that out there? So
You can use the mouse too. It would work better.
you think it'll come up?
Yeah, see, I was doing that already. See,
Oh,
show. Just click. Show.
oh.
See how that works?
So Glide Father, he's on from Indiana. I don't know. V-Rider, hey, Bob and Tam just pulled in home in the Poconos. Wow, you must have left her either early this morning or yesterday. We got to meet V-Rider, Luis, and Denise. Got to meet them over here at Frank Brown Park. Was gonna hang out with them a little bit, but we went to Destin on different days. We went the next day after they did. Janice is on. Hey, Janice, how are you doing? That's way up there. Left out. Yep. Uh, Carl says, "Good evening. Are you two going to go to Laconia?"
No.
No.
What we've got still planned for this year is tomorrow evening we will be in Myrtle Beach. The rally don't start till Friday, Saturday, Sunday, depending on where you're at. So we'll be there
Pick and choose.
Tuesday, starting to do some coverage on it, talk about some of the places and stuff, getting you going there. As soon as that's over, we're going to go visit our daughter in Kansas. We'll be there about a week or so till right after Memorial Day weekend. We fly back home. We'll load the trailer all up and we'll get ready for Sturgis because we'll be in Sturgis somewhere around the second week of June already. So we'll be all through there. The only thing that's up right now, we'll be doing Bikes, Booze, and Barbecue in October. We'll be there actually the last weekend of September. We'll be there for a full week. Is Ocean City. There's a lot of controversy going on Ocean City right now.
What's going on?
We don't know the whole story. Here's what's being told. A lot of you may know that the person that was putting on Thunder Beach Productions here, they also did Laconia. He also worked with his mom at Ocean City. He's gotten in some legal troubles, so he's not available anymore. So his mom was one that was kind of backing Ocean City. Well, what we're being told was there was a 3-year lease that they had to, I guess, where they had the venue at for the concerts. They also had a lease for the convention center where they had the vendors at. Um, that expired this year. So we're being told it's not been renewed. So another promoter has stepped up, which I've looked for this promoter and I don't see this person anywhere. So I don't know who they are. They act like they had something to do with Ocean City before. Don't know nothing about it. I seen something strange today on Facebook, that on the Ocean City Facebook page, that somebody wrote that everybody's worrying about nothing. That the original person that put on the rally will still be putting on the rally. So I don't know what that means. So we'll have to wait and see. What are they looking at? Your light?
No, there's a little black dot right there, and I don't know if that's on. See right here?
I don't see no black dot.
See where my finger is?
Well, you look at the screen here and see if it's on there. That's what it was. I was on the screen. So we don't know about Ocean City yet. I'm going to probably wait a week or two before we decide if we're going to cancel that expedition or not. I don't know.
Hey, Skippy,
Um,
how you
so we're
doing?
just going to wait and see how that all
I
turns
like
out.
all the little pictures.
We'll talk a little bit about Thunder Beach Rally. Today was a wrap
Yeah.
up day. Once again, this is another rally that ends on Sunday that should end on Saturday. Some vendors already yesterday afternoon were already gone. Picked up and head out. This morning, by the time we got down there, it was earlier this morning. I guess we did laundry. So around 9:30, 10 o'clock, we were down there. Pretty much half the vendors were tore down and gone. The other ones were already closed up. There was a few speeds were still working on some stuff. I think I seen Scully was still doing some stuff this morning. Bill's Trailer Sales was still open. A couple of the T-shirt places were still going, but that was it. Everybody else was pretty much. We went past the bike rack, and it looked like a ghost town there. There was probably 10% of the vendors were still there.
All the bars that they had at Frank Brown Park, they were all empty. There was nobody there. The Twisted Tea stuff was all down. JCP Cycles had all their curtains down,
and you'll see all this on our Tuesday video. So we're a day behind now since we're doing a live today. Our Saturday, we had rain yesterday. So we'll talk a little bit about the rally here. So we got here Tuesday night, which was really shocking that a lot of the vendors were already set up on Tuesday at most of the locations. So we got here kind of late in the evening. So we just kind of, I guess we got here in the afternoon. I don't know what time, whatever time we got here. We kind of rode around a little bit and checked out a few things.
But they were all able to start
on Wednesday. It just seemed like the vendors, a lot of stuff was slow in opening, which was a little weird for this year. It was almost like people were just kind of laying back. Here's what I'm going to say about Daytona, Leesburg, and Panama City right now. Was the attendance was way down in all three of those locations. No matter what anybody tells you, we have less people at all three. Okay. So we'll have to see how this rally season goes. We'll see how Myrtle Beach turns out, and then of course Sturgis. But right now numbers are down. Vendors here, pretty much all the vendors that we've been talking to at all three of these rallies have done all right. No breaking numbers. A lot of them did not do in Panama City or did not do what they did last year, but they're okay. They were happy with what they ended up with. We did have everything kind of opened up on Wednesday. It looked like a ghost town here. If you watch some of the videos that we put out, there really wasn't a whole lot of people at Frank Brown Park this year. It's weird how where Amsoil Adam is at. That's kind of a main drag. That's always been full of people for 5 years we've been doing this. This year there was hardly nobody in the aisle. More people were on the very first aisle, which is more on the side of where they have the bands and the bar that you can sit inside and see.
The food vendors, all
Food's
that.
over there. There's a lot of T-shirt places. What's that guy that does jewelry? Sanity Jewelry's on that corner. Just a lot of miscellaneous. I guess Chubby Cups was over there. That's where he was at. Yeah. Other than that, I don't really remember any other real vendors that were over there. Just a variety. I think the person that sells toe rings or something was over there. They had that wood. That's the one that had the wooden place. And,
they do. That's what they sell, toe rings. But it's a really cool little
yeah. It looks like a little wooden
Western town thing.
She's been coming the last couple of years. But other than that, that's it. So Wednesday was just kind of scarce here. It looked kind of sad. Actually, all week looked like it. It wasn't really till Friday night did it seem like the crowd picked up. Saturday was a lot of people here. This year, it seemed like the bike rack had a really good crowd. It was a lot big. They moved stuff around. They took the bar and moved it. It used to be the bar was up by the main Front Beach Road, which I always thought was kind of stupid anyway. They pushed it way back. So
right at the entrance when you came in.
And so that was different. They had more vendors up front. I think they even had more vendors. So you could kind of do a loop around when you parked, easy in, easy out. They had the only thing I didn't like about it, which I don't know if this had to do with the fire. I was talking to the fire guy there, and he said he didn't agree with what I was saying. I said, I don't know if it has to do with insurance, but they have a chain link fence around where they're doing all the stunt riding, the burnouts, all the stuff. They were all inside a fence. So you had to stand outside the chain link fence, which was probably 6 foot tall, and look through the fence. It's chain link fence. I didn't like that. You see on some of our videos, there's a little bit more. It'll be on tomorrow's video. I had a little better location. I don't like it that way. I didn't like it at all. But I mean, Saturday it was packed full of people. It was probably 3 or 4 deep all the way around. It was a big, giant area that they were doing stunts in. So I don't know. Over there at the crossroads, not a whole lot of vendors. That's where the other Amsoil guys at. There's a few other lighting guys and different stuff that's there. That's where they do all the sound competitions. We don't film any of that junk, so we didn't really spend any time there other than driving through twice. That was all we did there. Miss Newbies, we didn't really spend much time there. Miss Newbies never changes. It's pretty much the same vendors that are there all the time. Nothing new. I don't think they had the they've had like a mechanical bull before. They didn't have that there. I didn't see it
Well,
nowhere.
the band that they had, they used to have a band outside, right there in the back, where George always sets up. But there was only bands inside and a DJ upstairs. Because I was asking, it wasn't George, but the guy that works for George, Chrome Cigars, and he said, "No, there's no bands here." He said, "There's the band inside there and the DJ upstairs." And I'm like, "They used to have a stage because it used to be back where the Mechanical Bull was, and then actually right where George was set up, the Chrome Cigars. That's where the
Yeah, I guess
band
I
was
do
the
remember
last
that.
couple years ago."
It was in that far corner.
Yeah, and so I guess they didn't have an outside band this year.
Yeah.
They only had the
A
band in the
little
bar
different. A
and
little
the
different.
DJ upstairs.
We went over to Hammerhead Fred's and we did the Mrs.
Ms.
Competition. The first night we were
Animosity
there,
Beach.
which you've seen a little bit on there, we were pretty far back when it started. It was already going on, so I didn't get any really good footage. It was so far away when I tried to zoom in, it wasn't very good clarity. I put a little bit of that on. That was it. That was whatever it was. Friday's video, Saturday's video. But we were there for the Ms. one. Older gals, and most of them weren't too bad looking. We had a 70-something-year-old lady.
72.
She actually thought she would have won, but she didn't. But that's pretty good. And tomorrow you'll see a little bit of that on. Tam did interviews with all of the girls, so we did that, and that's what you're going to see on tomorrow's video is the interview with them. The actual contest, I'm going to do another video at another date because we're just going to put that on as the whole thing and just show you that.
Went
Uh,
to a wet t-shirt contest that didn't end up being a wet t-shirt contest. They were supposed to have a frozen t-shirt contest. We didn't stay long enough for
Well,
that
what
because
they
of the
ended up
rain.
saying is that we were at one of the functions that they were doing something and you couldn't show anything. I guess it was supposed to be beards and boobs. And so they were having a beard contest and a boob contest. Well, you couldn't show anything. So it was like, well, that was kind of a waste. And so we were going to do a wet t-shirt contest, which we talked about on our channel, but that's the day it rained, Saturday. So I wasn't going to, they didn't really have much of a, that bar had no covering at all. You had to go inside the bar. There was nothing outside. So if it was going to be a wet t-shirt contest, I don't know where they would have had it when it was raining.
They wouldn't have had to pour water on the girls, I'll tell you that much.
That was a little cold too. So I don't know if they would have got, because what ended up happening Saturday too was we're supposed to had a bikini contest by Twisted Tea on Saturday. That's where we went down there for at 6 o'clock, and there was no girl. Actually, that one girl did have a bikini on.
Yeah, she did.
No, I don't know why she didn't come up when they called for a bikini contest.
Well, they said they had to have more than
Well,
one.
but I mean, if one girl would have came up, maybe somebody else would have. But the girl had one of those. You could see through her. You'd see her bikini. She had one of
She had
those.
to cover up.
Yeah, but you could still see her bikini. So it was like, I don't know. It was just a weird thing too.
So they had a biker chick contest.
Yeah, and it was okay. I show a little bit of that on tomorrow's video if you watch some of that. Same thing. We weren't real close, and they played all this stupid music behind it. I wasn't real fond.
Very loud.
Yeah, too loud. And I tried to take some of that out, and we got Billy from Twisted Tea Talk. He doesn't sound like he should sound because I had to take the music out because they had it was thumping in the background. It was just the DJ guy also did the entertainment for the music was way too loud. The last band they had on Saturday night, which probably was kind of like I think they were supposed to be a kind of like Hairball, where they do different things. These guys did on their promo. They showed they had these little screens playing on the side for they were dressed up like that. They looked like Van Halen. It was one of the ones they kept playing, and the music was it was like 10 times as loud as it was for the first one.
Yeah.
Or if you just stood across the street, it sounded pretty good. Once we got out to the bike, it sounded all right, but it was like if we would have sat there, we would have been deaf today. We wouldn't be able to hear nothing. So it was still raining.
We only played one song and we left. It was
we
just
didn't even
like
make
it
it
was
through all the way
just
through the song, I don't think.
It was very loud. And I mean, it was so loud, I didn't even know what the song was until they got going. And then they had the words up on their little screens. And then it's like, okay, I know what this song is now. But just sitting there and listening, I couldn't tell what the song was. It was that loud. It was just like noise. And it was not fun. So Neil's on. How you doing, Neil? Jana says hi to Neil, or Jana says hi to Neil. And I went to see Metallica in Nashville last night. How was that? You're welcome now. So, and Art, if you're still on here, Art Dansgood card. The number you gave us for Leesburg, I texted and I texted and I called and I texted, and finally the person says, "You got the wrong number." So whatever number you gave us, Art, was not the right number. So that's how come we never could get a hold of you. So you need to resend us your number. And I didn't know what number was wrong, if there was just one number wrong or the whole thing was wrong. Anyway, we did try to get a hold of you and didn't. Tony Cole, we were supposed to meet up with him. He was supposed to be down here. I don't know if he never made it or not. CZ said that the Metallica show was awesome that he went to see in Nashville. That's cool.
So I was pretty pleased with this rally. Leesburg, all three of these rallies I've got no complaints about. People are kind of complaining again about the police here. I did see more police cars than I have in the past. They just got done with spring break last week. They closed it down last week before we got here, the weekend before. So there was still some presence of that. They actually said now they're going to outlaw spring break here. They're going to try to really emphasize keep them away. So I don't know if that's part of the problem they had. Well, a couple things you have to know about here in Panama City. This is not an open container area. You can't go down Front Beach Road and walk down the street with a beer in your hand or anything like that.
Or mixed drink.
So the problem is a lot of people bring lawn chairs and stuff like this, which I don't know if it's people that are here for the bike rally or if it's just people that are here or people that drove in from Panama City and snooping around, whatever they're doing. Well, a lot of people got tickets because they had coolers next to them and they're sucking beers down, and they got
sitting
tickets.
There watching the bikes go by.
And people thought that wasn't right. Well, if it's not an open container, it's not an open container area. Hello. So and then the other thing over at the bike rack. Across the street where the cars all park, which is the side street there. What was the name of that side street?
Alf Coleman.
That is not part of the bike rack. That is actually owned by part of it used to be another water park that was there. I don't know if the front one owns part of the back one. I don't know, but there's signs there that say no parking, $150 fine plus towing. And the signs are on the fence, and cars got towed from there. Once when we were there Saturday night, they actually announced on the PA a couple times, hey, they're getting ready to tow. The trucks were all sitting out there. And so they were being lenient, and they let everybody move their car. It probably was a good hour before those 3 or 4 cars that were over there finally moved their vehicles so they didn't get towed. So they did, but once again,
they tried to comply with the people that park
there.
If
you park first of all, this is a motorcycle rally. All of these things that we cover is a motorcycle rally. It's not a car rally. It's not a pickup truck rally. It's not even really a side-by-side or whatever. Polaris. It's not that either. Now, you're more than welcome to come to the rallies, but you can't complain when things don't go your way. I'm in Leesburg or I'm in Daytona. I can't drive my side-by-side down the street. I can't drive my truck down the street either. So what's the difference? So I don't know why people, we were talking to one of the vendors now, is people just think they're what's the word? Entitled. That's the word. They think they come to this kind of thing and they should be. And people were complaining, well, look at all these motorcycle people. They're riding drunk on their motorcycles and the cops ain't doing nothing to them. How do you know? You're just sitting in one spot watching what's going on. You don't know what's happened down the road, if anybody got pulled over. We had several motorcycle wrecks. I don't know if anybody died.
A few people dumped their bikes, and I don't know if it's just because I
think there's, once again,
a lot of potholes.
I think, once again, this is a very...
Drinking rally?
No, I think there's people that are down here that don't know how to ride a motorcycle. The guy that dropped the bike in front of us last night had a really nice bike. He was an older guy, and he just there was no reason for him to drop the bike. He wasn't going that slow. He just was going into a parking lot. He had to go up a little bit of a hill, and he just fell over. And so
everybody jumped down.
Yeah, and that's right. So. And we didn't. We by the time I got there, he was already up. So they had his bike.
Palmito.
Yeah.
Hotel and resort.
We'll talk about prices in a little bit about that. But yes, I didn't see anybody get hassled. We did see some bikes pulled over yesterday. We seen several cars pulled over. So we probably seen 4 cars get pulled over and a group of motorcycles were pulled over. Now, we did see some videos that some moron out here was doing a burnout out here on Front Beach Road with a crotch rocket. And here comes the cops down the street. Boop, puts the light on, and he runs, which the video turned off, so I don't know how far he ran, if he ended up pulling over or not. but you can't outrun a helicopter. They got helicopters flying over the whole time.
All over, up and down the beach.
I don't know if they're beach patrol or if it was
There's
for.
been mostly red flags out. Today was yellow flag, but most of the time since we've been down here, it's been red flags. One red flag is warning that be very cautious.
You need to stop right there.
Two
If
red
you go
flags,
in the
don't get
water when there's a red flag, it is now a $500 fine.
I thought it was two.
I just seen the billboard down here said 500.
I thought they said if it's two red flags, do not get in the water.
No, but I'm just saying if there's one red flag, it's $500 if they catch you in the water. So that's just what it said.
It's been a red flag the whole time we were down here, except today. It was yellow
today. The waves really weren't that big, but I mean, I don't know what about
the rip current. It was
but the water is probably the most essential color it's probably ever been. We were actually with Joey with All About Customs. He went out with us today and had dinner, and he ended up saying that, wow, I've never seen it. The water here looks like what it looks like in Destin. If you go down to Destin,
they call it Emerald Beach.
That it's clear, it's blue, it's unreal.
It's kind of like that green, like a emerald green. Very pretty.
It's more blue than I would say.
Well, green. It's green where it's more shallow, and then it gets a real pretty blue when it goes out.
And so that's kind of what the water's looking like right now. We'll be back again. You know, I like this rally. To me, this is, if you're going to, somebody asked that today on Facebook and said, what we've gone to Daytona a bunch of times. What would you recommend next year? What's the advantage of Panama City Beach versus Daytona? I said, well, first of all, this is more of a beachy area. Okay. And you're like, well, no, Daytona's on a beach. Daytona's really not on a beach. The hotels are on the beach. Yes, there's a few places you can walk through, but you can actually get out here, just a little stretch that's where all the hotels are at. You can drive along, and pretty much most of the way you can see the water. It's right there. It's within, you could take a rock and throw it and get it in the water. So we're in Daytona, you ride along the beach, and it's like Myrtle Beach. You kind of got to look between the buildings if you want to see the water. Different thing is here, you can drink on the beach. You can go to Sharky's or Hammerhead Fred's or whatever and go out their back deck and take your drink right on down to the beach.
Pineapple Willie's.
It's legal to drink on the beach here, which you can't do in Daytona. So that's two things. The other thing that I like here is people aren't as big a show-offs as they are in Daytona. And like I say, there are some burnouts. There's a lot of people revving their engines.
A lot of people wearing shorts and flip-flops down here. We're in Florida.
More than in Daytona. A lot more. There's, I would say, 1 out of 10 motorcycles go by actually has jeans and boots on. The rest are either flip-flops, tennis shoes, or shorts. Both riders. Hey, but if that's what you want to ride, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's just I don't do it because I would burn my leg. I don't know how people do it. Traffic was really bad again this year.
I don't think it's been as bad as it's been in the past.
Well, we didn't. Once again, things didn't just run as smooth as what we normally do down here. I don't really know why. We would have only gotten here maybe a day earlier, but things just didn't run smooth again. I don't know what it is. I don't really know what's going on with our rallies.
I thought it ran pretty smooth. You always got a video done.
We still didn't get to everywhere we normally would have gone. You know, normally we spend more time at Miss Newbies. We would have went to Hammerhead Fred's and went 2 or 3 nights and filmed that. We would have just a lot more places we would have spent. We normally spend more time at the Harley dealer. We used to go more than once. We only went once there. Let's see, one of the things I thought today when I was talking to Amzo Adam was last 2 years we've been on the property there. So if I was going to edit a video, I wouldn't necessarily have to stay with the video while it's uploading because I could have went back to the trailer right away. We're here, we're off. There's nothing. McGuire's is right next door, the other one. Now we ate there again. You have to watch tomorrow's video. We might have figured a few things out about McGuire's. So if you've seen it and wonder why we badmouthed it the other day, and still like the other one better, but this one's close. It does have. We did figure out a few more things. So we were talking about what we like about this. I think there's a lot better bars here than in Daytona. It's just other than Miss Newbies, I'm not a big person to be there at night just because we've been down there now and there's been some stabbings down there over the years. It's a lot of 1% clubs show up there. Now we didn't get down there at night this year, so I have no idea. Maybe they're not there this year, but their security always has been 1% group is taking care of it. And there's always just been, usually there's so many. Last time we were down there 2 years ago, it was so full of 1%, we couldn't even turn a camera on.
And
They
it
were
wasn't just
everywhere.
one. There was like 8 to 10
Different
different
clubs.
clubs
And
there.
that's when you see problems. Is maybe they're all getting along, but once they start drinking, then somebody does something stupid, and next thing you know, somebody's stabbed or shot or whatever.
Talk about drinking, no.
Yeah, somebody had a drink today. She's a little tipsy. So, um,
Ready for bed.
so what else do I like about there? So one is that, and there's a lot of really great places to eat here. I think there's better places to eat here than in Daytona. Daytona is really stretched out, so you got to go all the way down to Ormond Beach. You got to go all the way into Daytona. You got to go out to the Speedway. You got a lot more riding to go to get something. Not saying that we could take a lot of great restaurants in Daytona and put them together and say, okay, there is some good places to eat, but you got to drive 20 miles to get to each one. It's not right here. We're here. You only got a short distance. It's probably, I would say, everything's probably within 5 miles of each other, just depending on the traffic. But I mean, we could go
Takes
to.
an hour to
We
get
went to
there, so it's
Sharky's
only
tonight
five
and ate.
miles.
We've ate at the Wicked Wheel. We liked it. See, same thing there. We usually eat there 2 or 3 times, and we only eat there once. So it's really weird this time. I don't really know.
We've only been eating once a day though now. Then normally
I
before
don't
we'd
know.
eat lunch and dinner. We're now today we ate 3 meals, which we haven't done that in I don't know how long. But we ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner today.
And so I don't know what it is, but I mean I do like it better here, uh, just because to me this is more of a beachy area. It feels like a beach. You see people running around in bikinis and all this. Well, I guess the other big thing is how many homeless people do you see sitting down there on the
Hmm.
front beach road? How many homeless people have you seen it all in town? None. There's the first thing. You don't see that here. Uh, So that's why I like it. I like this rally. Some people are moaning and groaning. We don't have the big bands here anymore, and this and that. And it's like whatever, dude. Uh, but one of the things that I
You know,
like too
Hammer had
about here,
friends there, Buck Wild, that
well, yeah, he always does good. But the
that
difference
good
here is
band.
probably on Friday and Saturday nights. There's probably 10 to 15 different places you could go to listen to bands. Every place has a band. Sharky's has a band. Hammerhead Fred's got a band. Every little bar around here has a band going on for Bike Week, Bike Weekend. It's not really a week.
Yeah.
So it's I like that. It gives you a lot of variety of maybe where you'd want to go. So those are some of the things that I like about Panama City compared to any other rally. It kind of puts itself in its own class. It's not super crowded with rally. Not all tons of people come here. We probably had I don't know, 5, 10,000 people probably showed up down here, maybe. Uh, where Daytona probably had about 30,000 or 40,000. They're trying to say there was 175. I don't buy that. I'm talking about motorcycle people. I'm not talking about other people that attend. It's like here. There's people pushing strollers around. People got babies. They didn't come riding on a motorcycle. So that's that. So Myrtle Beach is next. Same thing with Myrtle Beach. It's a totally different rally. I've never been a big fan of Myrtle Beach, just for the reason Myrtle doesn't want you there. There really isn't really anything going on in Myrtle, North Myrtle. Now again, we're going to have the big vendors over there, but it'll be very limited because they've got to be on uh, House of Blues parking lot like they were last couple years ago. They were there, but they were on the other side too. They won't be on that other side this year. So there's only going to be, I don't know, 10 or 15 vendors there, not as many as they've been in the past. Murrells Inlet's going to be pretty much the same as it always is. Everything else will be the same. I'm not going to see JP Cycles will not be in front of
Spokes and
Spokes
Bones,
and Bones. They're going back over to
Barefoot Landing.
Barefoot Landing. They'll be back over there. So we'll be traveling between those again. So we'll be getting there tomorrow, but it'll be late in the evening. So this year we're doing something different. So originally we rode here. So we flew in for Leesburg, picked up my bike.
From Ride King.
Yep. So he picked us up at the airport and everything, helped us out. Brought our luggage, took our luggage and brought it out there because we have suitcases and stuff too that we had on the plane. It's been bouncing around with vendors. So we rode it over. So the first day we decided, well, I thought it was only 250 miles and found out it was 450 miles to get here from Orlando. And so I really kind of wanted to ride a little bit of the coast too. I didn't want to just get on the highway. It's boring just getting on the highway and traveling here. We've done that before with the trailer all the time. So I wanted to kind of do. So we ended up. I finally looked around and I found, this little town called Perry,
You've done the same thing.
and thought, let's go to Perry and we'll stay all night there. That way we did about 250 miles or so. We did that first day, and we got there and or evening times. I don't know what time we even left in the morning. I don't know what time we left. I
Well,
don't
we
even.
went and did laundry and everything, so we didn't leave till like noon.
Okay. And so we rode over there, got over there probably 4 or 5 o'clock. So we checked into the hotel. We had a hotel, same thing. It was about $100. So it wasn't too bad. It was a really old style. Hurricane must have hit that area pretty good, or tornado or something. A lot of buildings, a lot of hotels were closed and gone. They had some really nice ones, but this was a really older one, kind of like the place we're in here on this side of the street. Probably something that was built back in the 50s or 60s. I mean, the room was nice, but it was very dated. But I mean, it was freshly painted. They had a new sink, a new toilet. The tub was the old cast iron tub was still there with the shower, but it was okay. And so we stayed there, and then so the next day we jumped on the 98 and took it all the way up the coast. And we're going to probably do a video on that because a lot of people said I'd love to see more of that. Well, I didn't. Once again, I don't show a lot of that, so I may put a video just on that and talk about it. The worst thing was probably the first 25 to 50 miles was probably the straightest road in all of America. It outbeats that one in Utah.
Good night, Skippy.
Where it was perfectly straight, but what was different was there was pine trees all the way down, so you couldn't see anything, couldn't see the water, couldn't see anything. It had to be at least 50 miles. Might even been longer than that. Could have been 75 miles. I wasn't gauging anything. And I went through a lot of little towns and stuff like that. Speed limit varied between about 65 and 55 most of the way. 60 for a long time. Got right along the beach, went through Mexico Beach. I'd never gone down to that end of Mexico Beach. We'd gone down to Mexico Beach before, but it was more of a fishing area. And I don't know.
We tried to, I thought we would go right past the place we stayed at. It was called Nautical RV Park, something like that.
So
we never went, because I thought we just got right on the.
I wondered if that one had changed the name there, if that was it. When I said maybe that was it there.
Maybe. It looked kind of like it.
So I don't know. But that was a pretty good ride. Same thing. I think we got here at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We took our time. Was no big hurry. Stopped and ate on the way, and
I'm missing these people. Hey, Robert from Northern Ontario. I keep missing the people.
So we might probably do another video on that later on and talk about that ride because it was probably the nicest ride I've done in Florida. Traffic wasn't too bad. A lot of semi, because there's coming off that road, there's a lot of places people can get rocks and stuff. They're cutting some trees down, wood stuff. So you had a lot of, mainly most of them were going away from, they were coming towards us as we're heading towards Panama City Beach. And then you kind of weave through, which we've done some of the road before from Mexico Beach. We stayed at that campground and we kind of weaved around the back of those roads to get there. So we had rode some of those before. So other than that, we went down to Destin. Same thing. The traffic was really bad. We went down on Friday, and the traffic was bad all the way there. We didn't end up going down to 30. Somebody had recommended going all the way down to 30, and then you come back out. And I thought maybe on the way back we could do it, but we were Joey from All About Customs. I didn't finish that story, I don't think. He's hauling our motorcycle. So what ended up happening with her is I knew she couldn't handle 650 to 700 miles on the motorcycle doing 2 days. That'd just be too much on her. So we talked to Carolyn with All About Customs, and she said, "Oh yeah, you could ride with me, no problem whatsoever." So I called Rick Rack up the other day, and I said, "Hey, would you guys have any?" She didn't want me to ride by myself all that way. So me, it was not a big deal. I was going to take 2 days. I was going to do about 350 miles one day or 400, and then the rest I'd rather on the coast on Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I would have took the coast the rest of the way up and rode through all those little towns. But
17.
She had said something to Carolyn about, well, hey, would you guys have any room in a trailer to haul a bike? So then when we got there, Joey said, hey, do you need to have your bike hauled to Myrtle Beach? We're going straight there. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm kind of considering that. He says, well, I can put your room. He kind of showed me where in the back of his trailer he could put it, and he put a wheel chuck down and strap it all down. It'd be right here. And I think it'll fit just fine. Everything will be fine. And I'm like, that's fine. Then that's when you guys going to leave. First, they were going to leave on Sunday. And then they decided by the time they tore down and all that, it's about a 10-hour drive from here.
Again, they're looking for help too. So it's just Joey and Carolyn right now. So they had to set up by themselves. They had to tear down by themselves. And we told them we'd help, but you know how you kind of get, we don't know things. Nothing. Yes. We don't know how they tear down.
Yeah.
And I said, well, if we would be more than willing to help you tear down if we wouldn't be in the way. If we would be in the way, we get it. We understand that. So
he kind of said, just go do your thing. And so then we did that. We drove around a little bit today, got some shots for the next video. Then we came back to the hotel room because we needed to have the motorcycle packed up. And so because we took it over there tonight and dropped it off. And so I said, well, text them and see if they're just waiting on us, thinking we're out filming all day, that they didn't want to bother us. And so she texted her, and then about a half an hour after that, she said, oh, if you guys want to come over this way, we're almost
It's
done.
just about done.
So we got there and we helped them do a few things, and then we got the bike in, and it all fit really good. So we're going to leave 7 o'clock in the morning is when he's planning on leaving. So we'll take a taxi or an Uber from here. We're only about, I don't know, 3 miles probably from them, from where we're at. So we're going to leave there and then journey with them. And so hopefully 6, 7 o'clock,
thanks, Neil,
something like that, 8 o'clock tomorrow night, we will be in Myrtle Beach.
Mindy's there.
So
Vanessa, my heart's breaking for her.
And so we'll see how that all works out. But so then we'll start covering everything on Tuesday. We're going to be staying with Steven. I don't know if he's on or not.
Not yet.
And he might be at church tonight, Sunday. So we're going to be staying with him. And so we'll be kind of in the middle. He's not too far from Mammy's and all the restaurants there. He's not too far from that. Between them and the dealership, he's kind of like in between those two. Easy to get to, not too bad for us being able to get there. He's got a room all fixed up for us, a place for me to do my editing. Hopefully he's got good internet, and we'll see how that all works out. And so we got another offer too while we're there. Carolyn and them, they normally have somebody stay with them. They rent a house, got a 4-bedroom with a pool and stuff. Said, hey, if you need anything, you could stay with us too. And I said, well, Steven wants us to stay with him. We'll just stay with Steven. We're okay with that. And Steven kicks us out. So we'll see how that works out.
Let's back up just in case Steven says, you're out of here.
Yeah, you guys are crazy. You're out too late. Making too much noise. He's been living by himself for a long time. Yeah. So sometimes that happens. Yeah. New people come in and
for 2 weeks. Yeah. That's a long time to put up with somebody. We just told you we'll be with Steven.
So that's where we're staying at. And
Ryder X wants to know if we've heard about the X5 release. I don't know what the X5 release is.
Is that the new Harley? I heard something. I seen some, but I didn't see what was going on. Ozark Rider put a video up the other day that said, and I think the Monkey said something about it too, that they're supposed to be bringing back one of the older motorcycles. They're bringing back again. I didn't see anything about that, but I mean, I haven't done a lot of research on it. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You have to tell us what the X5 is. I had to look that up. So that I don't know. So Myrtle Beach is next. We'll see how that all works out. Probably that's going to be a little weird because somebody's leaving already on that Monday. So she's going to be in a week from tomorrow. She's going back to Kansas, going back with Toto, and going for the oldest grandson's going to graduate from high school. And so she wants to go back. And so I can't because I got to work the rally. So
it's the new Insta360 5X camera.
Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of people doing reviews on the new GoPro or the instant camera. I don't buy people's, like, one of her 2 wheels or whatever, what I hate about this camera. Well, then she goes in the whole thing and tells you how great the camera is and all this. Well, I don't like videos like that. And there's another one that just popped up today. Let me tell you all the things wrong with this camera. And the guy tells you all this great stuff. Well, the problem is they gave him a free camera. Of course it's great and wonderful. First of all, I don't like
to complain about something you get for free.
I've still got the 3 is the one I bought. And I don't even use that very much. I don't like that, unless this one's changed. I don't like to have to edit on their software. I would rather pull the card out and be able to do what I want in my computer. But the problem is because you can do all these different. You got a 360 camera. You got to pick what you want. Well, I'm not going to shoot all my video with a 360 camera because it really looks like a 360 camera. So I don't mind using it as a specialty camera, especially when she's not around, which I'm not going to have her. I should have brought her, but I didn't bring it.
You didn't bring it?
No, I didn't have the room. So I'm only going to have the camera on the front of my bike, or if I put one on a helmet, I got a helmet mount that I can put on my helmet, but I don't ride around with my helmet on all the time. So I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. But I mean, I don't like that. I like to be able to take the cards out. I like to put them in the computer. I like to download all my stuff, and I've already got we average 3 to 4 cameras that I'm shooting all the time on a normal video. That's how many cameras you see. So if I add in the instant 360. Now what I do with that is I don't edit the whole video with that. I take the
Easy.
clips out that I want. Like if she's not riding with me as I'm editing, I pull that one down and like, okay, I put it in the 360 because I've got the 360 on my computer. So I can put it in there and I can find my clip. I save that clip. I send it out. Then I take that clip, put it in my video that I'm working on, and that's how I do it. So it's a lot more steps for me to do. So the 8K is not buying me nothing. I'm not buying that.
No, it says you can shoot a single lens mode with the 3X, so it's not a 360 camera.
But what happens if I want the 360? Do I have to leave it on 360 all the time? If I want, because that's the idea of using the 360 cameras when I'm by myself riding. If I want a back shot, I want a back shot. If I want a front shot, if I want the sides, I want those. Well, then you're back to shooting a 360 mode. That's the purpose of me. If I'm going to use a straight camera, I'm going to use what I already got. What's it doing for me? That I don't know. So at this moment, it's not on my list of buying things. We bought the new DJI Osmo 5. I really love that. Last night I've had it on night mode, and it does not like to ride on the motorcycle at night. It was really jiggly, jaggly. Same thing with your GoPro. It would look like crap at night too. If it stopped, it's even shaking there. At night, they don't really work that
Probably
well.
all the lights and stuff confuse it.
I don't know. But
it says you can switch between modes, Redrex said.
So I don't know. If you want to buy me one, I'll try it out. If they want to send me one, I'll try it out. But right now to buy it on my list, I haven't seen enough to justify it. And typically my rule is I don't like to buy anything within the first year. Because that's when you find out all the bugs on the stupid thing. If it's going to have problems with it, if it's not going to work. One of the reasons I like the new Osmo is we got the Osmo 3. Same battery, same cage, everything's the same. I don't have to do anything. Now it's got a better battery in it, but I can put the old battery in it, or I can put the new battery in it.
Let's check out Robert White Moto. He bought the 365X, and he did a review.
But once again, did he buy it or did he get it for free? See, that's the problem I look at with people that buy a camera.
Oops, I turned it off.
Camera.
Now my
so my setup, I paid for all this. Didn't get no discount, didn't get anything. So this is my Action 5 that I bought. So I bought it off of Amazon.
What's a Euro mount? GYRO mount.
I don't know.
Hey, Charlie.
And then I got a gimbal for it, which I paid like $100 for this. I've had this brand before. It's just a cheap, makes it nice and smooth. This is my go-to camera now. I shoot almost all my video with this guy. It's got great coverage at night when we're doing bikes riding up and down Main Street.
As long as it's on the front of the bike, I guess.
Yeah.
Did you put it on this Rocksteady thing?
Yeah, but I don't know if night doesn't have Rocksteady maybe. So that's the difference. Somebody can say they buy a camera, but you don't know.
Because everyone's praising the X5. They're doing a lot of big improvements to it, the camera.
But once again, we have to wait and see will it hold up? Because it's only been out a few months.
We're probably not going to be at Americade.
No, I ain't doing Americade. Not doing Ohio, not doing Laconia. Here's what you do. If you got any of those rallies you'd like us to go to, you have to find somebody there to sponsor us. First of all, you need to talk to the dealership because we need a motorcycle to ride. Second of all, we need to know how far it is from an airport. Like Bikes, Booze, and Barbecue. It's a drive to get to Bikes, Booze, and Barbecue. That's my only.
At least a 2 to 3 hour drive, no matter which airport we go to.
It's a downgrade for me for that. This year, we're actually going to go from our daughter in Kansas and drive over there in the car, and not do the airline. But there once again we're sponsored. We've got a motorcycle to ride, got a place to stay. We just have to get there. So not too bad. But that's our problem. A lot of people.
We don't know when the commercials are.
Yeah. We have no control over them.
They want you to repeat what you just said because they missed all that because of the commercial.
Well, not everybody probably has the commercial at the same time.
Well, they all just said, yes, I missed it too. Neil and Rowan both.
Mostly we're talking about that 5 camera that's out. I don't buy anything when it's brand new. I've learned that from way too many things that I bought. Just like the new Road Glide when it came out in 2024. I like that. I probably wouldn't have bought that till the end of the year if I was going to buy a new one. So we mainly just kind of talked about that. That was probably the big thing we talked about. We're staying with Steven and Myrtle Beach.
No,
We talked about her. We're uh, all about customs. Joey is bringing us to Myrtle Beach. He's hauling my bike, and we're both riding. Well, she's going to ride with Carolyn, and I'm going to ride with Joey, and they'll have entertainment as we go that way. And
free entertainment.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. We've never spent that much time with them. We went to dinner with them tonight, and it was okay. So we'll see. But everything seems to be, that's kind of the rundown of what we were kind of talking about. People more or less going back and forth saying this, that they've heard great things about this new camera, that it's a 360 camera. What I look at is I've got enough videos to edit cameras, and I didn't even bring one of them. We usually bring the one that I put on the tripod to do interviews with. That camera did not come on this trip. Where's that tripod at? Is it in the suitcase?
Yeah.
We brought the tripod, but I left it here from Daytona, but I didn't bring the camera.
We were going to use it, and then
after I thought about it, I was like, no, I don't need to bring that stupid camera. So I have enough stuff now. That's one more thing I need to bring. We didn't bring any drones either because I don't have enough room to bring all that junk. Now, Sturgis, different story. She'll have her bike in Sturgis. So I'll have my bike in Sturgis. So we'll bring the 360 camera that I have there. If somebody's got an X5 camera that you'd like to bring to one of the rallies, I would be happy to try it out and play with it. Not saying I would do a lot with it because I don't have a lot of time to play with it at a rally. That's the problem too when we do stuff like this, is when I buy something new that's not just something I'm just going to take the card out and shove it in the computer. I'm just dragging the files over and I'm just dragging it into my editing. And it doesn't matter what camera I use. It used to be years ago, there was a big difference that you really had to watch your color correction and all that. You guys ever notice anything in our color correction? Do you ever know? I don't color correct nothing. I brighten things up when, like last night, there was a lot of stuff because it was so cloudy and stuff. I brightened some clips up on here, but I don't do color correction on anything. I used to do a little bit more when I used the Apple, the Premiere Pro. That had a setting in it, but with the DaVinci, doesn't have a color correction. You got to do everything manually, and I ain't got time to do a lot of that crap. This is vlogging. We're not making a movie here. We're just giving you great information very quickly. So I don't spend a lot of time. Some people on YouTube have a whole week to make a video, and they make it very pretty. I can do that too. Once you get me up to watching 40 to 50,000 views on every camera or every video, we'll do that. But at this point, we don't do that. Like here, I barely had a video hit 4,000 views, which kind of sucks. We gained a lot of subscribers. We're gaining 400 or 500. We're up to 30,100 now today. So we've gained another 100 subscribers just since we've been here. So we're doing really good with subscribers, but that doesn't pay the bills. So same thing with cameras. That's one more cost that I have to spend. Probably that camera, just guessing, is probably about $500. And that's the other thing. That's a lot of money for me to spend for another camera that I really don't necessarily need. Price of a new X5 camera.
DJ, the 5, and he says, I bought a camera, and I'm like, I thought we weren't going to buy any more stuff.
$549 is from. I'm not saying I might be able to find it a little cheaper, but, and I see it's got changeable lenses and stuff like that you can get on it, and so I kind of heard a little bit about it, but I mean, if you want to get it with a stick and stuff, they're over $700, $699 for the bundle, and I don't need a camera that bad. It isn't going to change my world by giving me something better.
Said he just shot on his jet ski using the X5 yesterday, and he was very impressed.
There you go. But that's probably, what is it, a few minute video? Did you make an hour video out of it? Did you,
Karen?
I'm not saying it's not a bad camera. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. If it's worth $600.
For us to get it right now.
If I could just, because some of the videos are starting to do this, you can hit an AI and it'll AI the video for you, but will it actually give me the clips I have to, or do I have to go back through it and work it all out and make it look what I want? Just because I got a program here that's supposed to help me do titles, and it keeps wanting to do, the other day, want to do fishing videos. We're not a fishing channel. Where they got fishing out of Thunderbeach Rally, and then in the clips I put, it's a motorcycle rally and all the stuff that's going on, but where fishing got out of it, I don't know. But it's when I first got it, the software, it really worked really well. It made some nice thumbnails. It's made some really good titles. Title tomorrow that comes out is actually the one they picked. So I'm like, oh, videos haven't been doing very good. Let me just take one of the ones they say is so great. So talks about how this is one of the best rallies in Florida, which it is for me. I'm not lying about it. So actually, the videos this month that's done the best for us is our Harley Davidson breaking news, which didn't cost me a whole lot of nothing to make. We sat at home in front of a camera. I already got a studio all set up, and took me more time to. The last
Set
one we
everything
didn't do
up.
it, but the two there we wrote it on the grease pencil and put it on the board, so it sounded a little better, a little more professional than just me trying to read something. And but I've done really good with those videos, and people said that they kind of like that, and we'd like to do more of that. Like for
Could
instance,
be a lot, don't
if
you,
you were
Charlie?
down in Main Street Station now is officially open again down in Daytona. A lot of people didn't know what was going on with that. We heard some rumors that maybe it wasn't going to open again. It is up and going again. So it's back to normal, and they've done some remodeling, and so the same people own it. Everything's supposed to be hunky dory now. So hopefully in Biketoberfest, they'll still be there. We are this close to going to Biketoberfest. We will know tomorrow. She's got to make a phone call. And we already got a motorcycle set up. So once again, people want to know why will you come to a rally? Here we go. We're got the city of Daytona, the group that puts it on, is
CDB.
interested in paying the airfare to get us there and back. We got a motorcycle to ride, which is from Midwest Motorcycles there and Beach Boulevard. From Heavy Ed, he's going to give us a bike to ride. And then we've also got, we're working on Teddy Morris to give us a place to stay. So once all that three are done, there you go. That's how it does. That's how we show up to another rally. Typically, I wouldn't go to Biketoberfest because, once again, it's 3 or 4 days and it just isn't enough content, just like here. I probably made $250, maybe $300 on a good day if we made that much out of this whole week. And it isn't, it didn't even pay for anything to get here. And the hotel, so the hotel we stayed at, which really wasn't too bad, we stayed here for 6 nights. We got here on Tuesday, and we're leaving on Monday. Was about $711 with taxes. So now we booked this a way ahead. Where when I looked the Monday, I think Monday when we stayed we were in Perry, I looked to see what the price was, and it would have gone to $1,000 for the same time. So by booking it out 3 to 6 months ago, we saved $300. And so it's okay. It's not the Hilton. It's not the Ramada Inn. It's a nice hotel. Nothing. We're not on the beach side, and we're on the other side of the street, which I really didn't care. Bikes. It was closer. I like this better because this is where you're going to park your motorcycle, your car. You're going to park on this side of the street. There really is no parking on the other side of the street. They got a couple of handicaps on both ends, and that's it. So everybody's parking on this side anyway. So here, most of the time, we could park right up against the door here. We're in the very end one. But if we didn't, they had another lot on the side here, which we could see out of our window, is where all the bikes were supposed to park at. So it worked out really nice. Now we didn't get that. They had an indoor pool here, which is in the building we're in. We walked through it a couple times. We never did get to jump in the pool. They had a pool out back with a hot tub. Didn't get to do the hot tub. That's about all they have here. They don't really have much going on. They got
they got the beach right there too.
Oh yeah, the beach is right there. So they have steps go down there and all that. So I mean, it's a really nice hotel. I'm okay. I'm not complaining about it. I would have liked to have been a little bit more centrally located. We're very close to Frank Brown Park. The 79 is probably 2 blocks, 3 blocks from here. Down is probably where 79 is at the water edge here. Make a left, and that takes you right up to the 98.
98.
Yeah, 98. And make a right there, go down to the first light, and that's how you get into Frank Brown Park. Or you can go down farther and get the back way in. So not a bad location, but there's really nothing down. We're right next door to McGuire's. We walked there on the video. The first one we did Saturday, I guess. We walked there because it was raining. We didn't know how we were going to do all that with the rain, because originally they were talking rain from Friday night all day Saturday. And you got to watch the video tomorrow. It did not rain all day Saturday. So if you didn't come down here because you were afraid of the rain, we really only lost 3 hours, maybe
3, 4.
But then it did rain Saturday night. It wasn't pouring down, but it was enough to get wet if you didn't have a rain suit. A lot of people down here got no rain suits. A lot of people running around in shorts and t-shirts with flip-flops in the pouring down rain. So we did have our rain gear, and so we put it on, and Because once that band got loud, we were going to hang around because they said about 8 o'clock they're going to do these frozen T-shirts, and once they said they can't show anything, so I guess what they would have ended up doing was they were going to. I'm not even sure they would have put them on. I think all they were supposed to use their bodies to thaw the shirts to open them up. So I don't think they were even going to put them on because normally that they did is you got to take your shirt off like they do at the Buffalo Chip. Take your shirt off, you got to put this one on. And but there they do it in the water, so you can take it off and not everybody see you in the water. But Buffalo Chips, kind of like Glencoe, you can get a little wild there, and then nobody's gonna say nothing to you.
So Gene Kelly said the reason our Harley Davidson videos do so good is because of my do.
Maybe somebody. I had a couple people say something about that when it wasn't on one of them, so she made sure she put that back on there. What's he say now?
Rain gear never leaves my saddlebag.
Well, we didn't get out saddlebag, but it comes with us on the trip. So like a couple days here, they were showing no rain at all. So well, we actually thought it was sprinkling the other day, but we found some girl was squirting us with a squirt gun.
Yeah, I was like, is it raining or is there birds flying over? What's
And
going on?
but it looked
then
like
I saw a girl.
So Wednesday, Thursday looked like it was going to pour down rain in the morning, and then it almost reminded me of when we lived in Southern California, where you got the marine layer in. We got these clouds that kind of looked like it could rain, but it never did. Temperature was great here. We probably never got over 85 degrees. Today was in the 70s. This morning we actually had jackets on this morning. I was in the 60s this morning.
Yeah, we got up early and went and did laundry and had breakfast and went and checked out Frank Brown Park. It was chilly.
And so not bad. Overall, pretty happy. I've got no complaints about Panama City other than the traffic, but we've known that since the day we got here. The 98 was not as bad as everybody thought it was. I never did show the whole thing. Really only down at this end here where we're at. If you came up to 79, it's got a jig there where you can't, if you coming from where we're at to 79 going towards
Panama City,
where you would normally turn to go in the one end, you can't get across that way from this side. You can get in from there. That's where the marquee and all that's at, where you actually go right into the park. We normally never go that way anyway because we're always coming from the other way, and we turn there by what restaurants right there on the corner, Outback and IHOP and all that stuff's in that shopping center. They're usually turning
Chili's and Texas.
Yeah, Roadhouse. So usually we turn right there that way, and you come in the far side of Frank Brown Park, closest to the Indian dealer, the Harley dealer, all that coming in that end.
So that's not luck, that's purpose. Rider only rides on sunny days. That's you try that, but it doesn't always work that way.
Normally,
there's been a few times we've been caught out in the rain, but
typically I don't start a ride out in the rain, just like it was doing the other day, Saturday here. They were talking that I guess we weren't really hungry. It was about 11 o'clock, and it's like, well, if you want to do lunch, because they were talking it was going to come down here like at 1 o'clock, it was going to pour all day. Thunderstorms, they showed, could be really bad. So we put the cover on the bike, cover on the seat, all that stuff. And it's like, well, if we're going to eat something, let's just go down there. And we split a hamburger at McGuire's. And then we walked on back, and I kind of had a video all done. I finished it up, kept looking out the window, a lot of bikes riding by. And it's like, let's get out. Let's go down to Hammerhead Fred's. And if it rains, we'll just stay there the afternoon. So we ended up going there. We filmed the mist contest. Then we went back to.
Got there just in the nick of time. Yeah. They were just starting it.
Yeah, went down to Frank Brown Park. Not Frank Brown Park. Went down to the bike rack, and then we hung around there until it started pouring down rain. And we stayed there for a while. And then when the second band came up, it was just so freaking loud. And we just said, let's just
And it
go.
was raining, but it was like drizzly rain. It wasn't pouring.
It was a sprinkle.
It was enough to get you wet.
Yeah. Where we probably had 3 miles to ride back, if we didn't have a rain suit, we would have been soaked. So yes, my helmet's still wet inside. I don't know how my helmet got wet.
I don't know either because you didn't have your helmet.
Yeah, so how did my helmet get wet?
I have no idea.
It's all wet inside. Was you wearing my helmet?
I was not. I had my own helmet.
I don't know. I was wondering. I didn't think about that until right now. I put it on a while ago because we had to take it over to Joey's and leave it over there. And I'm like, why is my helmet all wet inside?
Mine wasn't wet.
Like you wore my helmet yesterday.
Because I can tell because when I go to put the strap on, the strap light goes down.
So I don't know. So yeah. But
it always rains in Florida.
Yes. And that's what people always say is oh man, it's a lot of people cancel their trips that were probably going to come down here.
In your helmet.
Because there's nobody in here to pee in it. We don't have a cat or dog or nothing. Uh,
We didn't leave it on the
unless,
bike.
which I can't believe it would still be for me sweating and getting here. I don't know. It's about time for new helmets anyway, but I can't believe freaking half helmets now are 250 bucks
300
up.
bucks.
It's like they're on crack. What happened? I think these helmets we paid like $69 for them on sale 30 years ago.
Just about.
Oh, but one of the first times we went to Sturgis because that's when we had the stuff
yeah.
painted on them.
It's Florida and blown in there an hour here. I know. The central Florida is what really needs the rain. That's why I kept praying that the rain clouds would go to the central Florida. Just keep
Well, they were
on going.
predicting 2 to 3 inches. We didn't even get a quarter of an inch here. I don't think it was even that much. I didn't look here where we're at. The TV is all national TV. They don't have any local stuff. One morning they had a little bit of local, but you got to get up like at 5 in the morning to see the local news because they're playing the East Coast stuff, even though we're in the Central Time Zone. So at 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock, they're already putting all the Today Show and Fox and Friends and all that crap. All those are coming on. So I can't really see what's. One night we had local on, so I don't know where it's at. I thumbed through all the stations. I don't see it anywhere. So we don't really see a lot of the
Have to
local
buy
stuff.
American made. That's what it is.
So we've been relying on the phone, looking at the weather reports
Radar.
on there and stuff like that. But I knew that in the first place because they started talking about this rain back probably Tuesday or Wednesday. We were talking Saturday was a chance of rain, and I said you never
they
know.
said Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, well, it was supposed to rain Friday night, and it didn't end up raining Friday night. So it worked out all right. But I mean, it wasn't that much rain, and today's a little cool. A few of the people that were out here, they came from Texas, and they had to go out last night because they didn't bring any jackets with them because they knew it was going to be cold this morning. They were going to leave at 5 or 6 this morning, and they didn't want to freeze, so they went shopping. And it's like, well, because I guess they were the first ones to leave yesterday. And I said, "Oh, you guys are going to journey out and to take a chance on the rain?" They said, "We have to go get some clothes to wear to ride home tomorrow. It's supposed to be really cold tomorrow."
A few people we saw, they brought their trailers around and loaded up their bikes in the rain yesterday. Yeah. They weren't.
So a couple other people said that a lot of people left yesterday. Like I said, where we were sitting at, I didn't see a lot of that. But I do know some people that I seen on Facebook that said they were coming from Alabama, Mississippi, and it was raining there on Friday, and they weren't going to come down here and then have the chance of raining all day Saturday and then go home on Sunday, which I can see that. I wouldn't want to go all that way. Spring Fling was kind of like that. There was talking of rain the whole time. That Ozark rider, if you guys watch him, he had originally said, I ain't going. Next thing you see is he's there. So I guess he figured, I think it only rained there on Thursday or something.
Yeah, one day for like 20 minutes, and then they said the rest of the time was fine.
Yeah, but
it was in the 70s.
That's a weird time to have it because it's not uncommon down there to have, I think last year was like 46 was the high. I'm not really keen on going out and riding when it's 30 or above.
Well, when we lived in the Midwest, the old saying was April showers bring May flowers. So April was usually known as a rainy, wet month. So, but that was back in the day. So weather patterns have changed since then.
Yeah. So, like I say, I don't know. It is what it is, and when you go to a rally, that's what I said. If you're worried about rain or you're worried about it being too hot or something like that, you probably should just stay home because when you're gone like this and you're gone for a week or two, going on a trip like this, you're going to hit some weather, like it or not. And it's kind of like people always say about Sturgis. We've had snow in Sturgis, and we've had it hotter than hell in Sturgis. So
105 the whole 10 days.
And we've been there and it snowed, and it was in the 30s. So yes. And that's in August. So yes, anything is possible, just like here. It wasn't a surprise. We've only had 1 year that we traveled where most of the rallies never rained during the rally.
It must have been 2021.
I think it was like 2022. I think it was after we did all the big rallies.
I don't know.
2021, we did all.
We went all of them, and it didn't rain any of it. Even Laconia, where they call it Rainconia, it didn't even rain up there.
Oh, well, then you can go back to that. That was Rider X. What year was that?
In 99.
Yeah, we went on the 99. So that would have been 3 years ago, probably.
Was last year the 100th?
Yeah,
2 years ago.
2 years ago, I think. Let me see.
What year was the Laconia 99th rally?
When was Laconia's bike rally the 99th? 2022. I was guessing it was 2022.
But anyway, it didn't rain in
during
Daytona.
The rally.
It didn't rain in
It rained before,
City.
But it didn't rain after. It didn't rain during.
It didn't rain in Leesburg. It didn't rain in Laconia. It didn't rain when we did.
I think it did Sturgis either.
didn't rain in Sturgis. It didn't. None of the rallies. We went to because they even in Galveston they said it's cold, wet, and rainy in Galveston. Just so you guys know, it's cold and rainy, and it didn't rain there. It was chilly, but it wasn't cold. And then I don't know. It was just the whole. Even went to Rocky Point, didn't rain down there. Um, I think
So
that
it
was
is
the
possible. I mean, that's very rare since, but like I say, it did rain before. In Sturgis, it rained the day before the rally started that year, but it didn't rain during the actual rally where we were at. Because Sturgis is kind of like Florida. It could rain in Deadwood and never rain in Sturgis.
Saturday afternoon. Gene said that the afternoon the rains came. It was dry. Other than that,
And so, like I say, you never
Gene
know.
went.
You never know when you're going to a rally what to expect. But typically, you would look at a rally, and that's what you'd kind of say. If you it looked like it was going to rain, if I was coming from Florida or Mississippi or Alabama, Georgia, and I seen that they were predicting rain for Panama City for the whole week, I probably would cancel my trip, uh, because it is possible in Florida. But typically in Florida, you would think more likely we'd have the 4 or 5 o'clock rain, and that'd be the end of it. It rains for 20 or 30 minutes, and it's gone, and then it's hotter than hell. But I mean, here the weather was temperature wise was you couldn't get any better. We had a cool breeze coming off the water every day here. Wasn't like
Wasn't bad.
Leesburg. Leesburg was hot. They broke a record on Saturday, the hottest day ever. We
They
hit
broke a
94.
record. Yep.
And with the humidity and stuff, it was about 98. It was hot. Hot, hot, hot. Friday was hot. Every day was hot, but it got hotter as the week went on. But I mean, it was, and the bad thing about it is there's not a lot of night stuff going on there. Here, you've got most of the, other than down at Frank Brown Park, bands here usually play at least till midnight. So you still got a lot of things here you can still do at night. Where in Daytona, Leesburg doesn't have a whole
Yeah.
lot of party place. They have a few bars that do stuff at night, but in downtown's got whatever they got, 11 o'clock or something. I think when she said that quit downtown 11 or 12.
Hmm. Oh yeah, that one. They had an indoor venue this year that had bands in it. That theater, and that went till midnight.
Oh, we got attacked by a bug today. I thought I was President Trump. I got my ear shot off.
He jerked, and he's like
Is my
holding
ear
his
still
ear.
there?
He was like,
Well, it ended up where it hit
well,
you
it
at.
hit me in the chest, and then I'm like, he's like, that bug hit me. I said,
I
yeah,
said,
and then
was
it
it a
hit me in
bird
the,
or a bug?
and I said it hit me in the chest. I'm like, oh, it probably went down my shirt. I'm like, oh my gosh, and it was this great big old like June bug, and I dug it out and threw it, and I was like, oh, it was. I didn't look at it, but it was a big
I
old
thought
bug.
my ear might have been bleeding. She goes, well, you may need a band-aid like Trump had on. I think it was a different ear. I think his ear was that side. People that if I put a band-aid on it, they think I'd be imitating him. So yeah, but yeah, it was. We were luckily we weren't going very fast. Probably only doing 25, 30 miles an hour.
Yep.
And it was like felt like somebody threw a rock at my ear.
Well, even in the rain coming home, because I had my shield down, because I had my helmet on. He didn't have his helmet on. He only had a hoodie on. And then, like, a drop of rain hit me right in the lip. I was like, yeah, it felt like it really hurt. Like somebody threw a dart at me.
And
Anyway,
so yeah, so we got to ride in the rain while we were here. Didn't get totally soaked.
there's Scott from Maryland, or Menard. Scott Menard. Scott is ready to go and meet you guys and ride that fat boy back to Annapolis, Maryland after Sturgis. Oh, he wants our fat boy. The
I don't think I doubt if we bring it to Sturgis. We never talked to anybody about doing a giveaway there. I still got things I need to do to it, and plus we'd have to drag we'd have to drag it with us to Sturgis. I just don't know. I think we're probably going to fool with it more when we get home. Really haven't been talking to the dealers a lot about getting a bike, and I guess we did talk.
No,
to
he put. I think Scott put his name in for the veterans bike, the Fat Boy Street Stalker that we have.
So some people were
98.
asking down at Spring Fling, what happened to the bike we were giving away down there? That's a whole nother story. Once again, it wasn't really a bike we were giving away. It was actually a bike they were giving away, the cat house and the campground there. The first bike they were supposed to buy, the guy didn't even have a title for it. So that didn't go through. So the second bike they were buying, there ended up being something wrong with that title, that it's taken longer to get the title. So it all got put on hold. The idea now is they want to give it away maybe the weekend before the 4th of July or the 4th of July weekend. They would like us to be there to do it. Once again, we're going to be in Sturgis during that time, so I don't know if that's going to happen. One, the problem I have with Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue are Eureka Springs. There's no easy way to get there. I am not
You
looking to
can't
rent a
just fly
car.
in for the day, give the bike away, and fly out.
Yeah,
That's not doesn't ain't
no.
going to happen.
So it's going to
Especially
be,
flying out from
well,
Sturgis.
one, they would have to get us, either somebody's got to pick us up or we got to rent a car. So it's going to take one day to fly in, get there, a day to give it away, a day to drive back to the airport and go home. So, or back to Sturgis. So it's going to be a 3-day trip to give away a motorcycle. I don't know. I haven't discussed it with them. They have wanted me to do a lot more stuff for them, but I just with doing our channel and stuff, they have a new campground. It's over there in Berryville, and Gene Kelly was there, and I guess it didn't really turn out like they were planning. The bad thing about this, the bad thing about all this is when you start something new, it takes a while to catch on. Just like our YouTube channel, we don't jump into to 100,000 subscribers in one day. It takes time to do it, and if we ever do it, maybe not. But things don't always go as planned. So I don't know. I have high hopes. I really like Arkansas. My idea was to extend it and make it a week long rally. And people might go, why? Why would it be a week? Well, there's so much freaking great riding there. Same thing. Weather can come in and can affect you. And if you have 2 or 3 days, like it did in Sturgis a couple years ago, we had the first weekend got a washout where if you didn't stay more than 3 days, you got screwed. It rained for 3 straight days, a lot of rain. But the rest of the week was the most beautiful week you could have been. Could have been any nicer in Sturgis. Well, that's why I always tell people you should not go, especially do a big rally like that. Daytona's the same way. Sturgis is another one like that. That they're 10-day rallies. Myrtle Beach, to go in and say I'm only going to come for 2 or 3 days, you should stay home unless you live right down the street. Live down the street, it's not a big deal. But if you're traveling across the country to Sturgis and you're going to spend 2 or 3 days there, you should just stay home. Go down there when there's nothing going on, if that's what you want to do, because you're not justifying yourself to be there. And then if weather's bad or something happens on the way there, you have motorcycle trouble, or maybe in the truck you're driving, you're pulling a trailer, you have trouble with it. Things happen, and to have
blowouts,
it's like us. We've never been to Sturgis without at least, we always spent a full week. We got there on Thursday, left on Thursday. We did that when we rode our motorcycle. And we still never even seen it all. But if it rained 1 or 2 days or it snowed, it wasn't the end of the world because we still had the rest of the week. We had a bunch of crap we could still do. So I never had a trip to Sturgis that I would have said was a disappointment when we rode the bike. If everyone was just fine. If it rained a day, just like here, it rained one day, who cares? We still had 4 great days here. We had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. 4 great days here that we had nice sunny and cool. It wasn't hot, wasn't super sweaty hot. And so yeah, it was great. Leesburg was the same way. Did it rain a little bit in Leesburg, didn't it? It was just hot. I guess it was just hot. Yeah, it was just hot.
I don't think it rained.
Daytona, we got I think a little bit of rain there on Wednesday and the Wednesday in the week, and the last Saturday it rained. But weather there wasn't too awful bad. And that's what other people always say. Drives me crazy. You got to come to the fall rally because it's better weather. Why? Where do you think the weather is going to be any different in the fall that it isn't in the spring? We've been down at both of them. The bad thing about the fall rally is the freaking hurricanes are right there on your doorstep. You know, they got screwed up last year. That they had to all that. Yeah, no, that was the one they had there. Just the tornadoes and all that from up north. Yeah. It pretty much shut all the fall rallies down. There was nobody came to any of them. Myrtle Beach sucked. That Smoky Mountain one sucked. Myrtle Beach sucked. Daytona sucked. I don't know what happened here in Panama City, but I would say it probably sucked too, because that all affected that weather up there affected down here the people coming to it, because these are when you go to the fall rallies, it is a local rally. You're not going to see people coming a very long distance for a short period of time. Compared to Daytona Bike Week. Bike Week, people come from all over the world. They come from Canada and California and Washington State and all over. But for Biketoberfest, you're not going to see
Take the best out of the worst
50
situation.
people, 50 different states being represented there because it's such a short time. Plus, the weather can be bad. You travel across the United States, it can have snow already by October, September, October, and stuff like that. You can get down to some bad weather. Same
Now in
thing.
Sturgis, after it rained, it was perfect after that. It was like in the
Yeah.
70s.
Mm-hmm.
It was the year before that. It was like
105 every
105.
day.
And last year it was hot too.
It wasn't that hot.
It cooled down, but Neil had ran up to Idaho, and it was hot.
It was hotter
coming
there
down.
than it was in
Yes.
Sturgis.
So,
But I mean, it's part of doing a rally. If you're going to go to a rally, things, and that's why I said you should plan. And I understand that. If like just like us, we did Sturgis, and that was our big rally for the year. Now we would do the Laughlin River Run. See, the Laughlin River Run, same thing. It was only Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. So we would come on. We'd leave on that Wednesday and get there for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and go home on Sunday.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then we also would still do Sturgis, but we didn't necessarily do like when I did the one in Reno. We didn't do Sturgis that year. I did Reno, and I did Laughlin. Laughlin we did every year for almost 20 years, and
That was the closest one to
Yeah.
us. Well, you went to Reno that one time,
yeah,
and then we went to Hollister, but that wasn't during the motorcycle
No.
rally.
mm-mm.
And then we went to Born Free that one time. That's in Irvine.
Then we did those ones, the love rides.
Mm-hmm.
We did a couple years of that.
Hasn't gone down.
Yeah, and we did Vegas a couple times. Me and Art went once, and then once with you to Las Vegas. And so a lot of times what happens is if you've got a job, it's hard to take all that time off. As I said, that's a couple times I went without her because she couldn't get off work and to go. To where I was, if I was off on the weekends, I only had to take Friday off or take 2 days off, and I was already off on the weekend. And where she couldn't, sometimes they wouldn't let her. They didn't have enough people to do rotations. She couldn't get all the time off. She didn't have as much vacation as I had.
Even though I did, on paper it looked like I had more, but he got more days.
Well, they
off
took it to where they
had PTO.
Yes, which sucks.
And it was everything.
So what I got is every year I got 2 weeks of sick time. I got 2 weeks of vacation. I got 3 personal days a year.
All the holidays
I got off. Well, she'd have to take. She took a holiday.
I got 3 weeks, but it was PTO, and that was my sick time, my vacation time, my holiday time, my personal time. Anything was right there in that lump sum. Where his was all
whenever I felt like it. I could drag it over next year. If I didn't use my personal days, they would go to next year. I could add on next time.
And ours is you lose it.
Personal days, you didn't have no reason at all. Sick, you had to call in and say sick. If you're gone more than 3 days, you had to get a doctor's note. And
not going to Americade, Scott, but we should see you in Myrtle Beach. Do we have your phone number? I think you probably
no Americade, no Ohio Bike Week, no Smoky Mountain video or thing. We're not going to Tennessee Music Revival. We're not going there. We're not going to Galveston. Is there anything else I didn't forget to say? Lake of the Ozarks. We're not going there.
Well, of them. Both their trucks broke down. It was a mess.
Yeah.
Carolyn's truck. They said Carolyn's truck got fixed.
Yeah, Carolyn's truck ended up
twice.
having, which I didn't read the thing, but something overcharged the batteries.
Well, they had a recall on it too.
Yeah, but that's what caused the recall caused their batteries to go out, burn their batteries out, overcharge the batteries. That's what he said. I've been smelling that sulfur smell, and that's what it was. Well, if he would have told me that, I would have said it was your batteries are being cooked. But that's from a mechanic part. So they got her truck fixed. So they took his truck up there. There was something going on. I guess there was oil leaking out of it or something, and ended up being one of the axle seals were leaking. Well, they ended up, which doesn't make any sense, that they had to loosen the torque converter to change the axle. So I've never had to loosen a transmission they got GMC trucks, to get a drive shaft out. Doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I don't really get what they did.
Jamie O says, we're not allowed up in New Hampshire no more because you gave that guy the sandwich shop such a hard time.
What sandwich shop?
Remember?
Oh.
We did that video and oh my gosh, we were laughing so hard.
It was the sandwich Nazi.
The sandwich Nazi. Boy, don't. You tell him what you want on it before you order the burger.
His wife wasn't the sweetest person in the world either.
Yeah, Scott said his phone number's on his email. So that's what he said. He said he can go to some of those rallies and report back to the newsroom.
There you go.
Mike Joette always does that if he goes someplace we're not
He'll
at.
do a Facebook post.
Yeah, you can put it. You can do a live on our Facebook page, and we appreciate that. You can let everybody know what's going on at the rallies you're going to if we're not there.
We thought about it before by sending some cameras out to people, but the idea is I couldn't edit it until I got the flash card back. We do have a Dropbox if you have not an iPhone Dropbox. I got a regular Dropbox mailbox. You can send some video clips through that. But it's the problem with people shooting video. It's not the same thing. I click on a lot of new videos when somebody's in Leesburg or Daytona. Somebody new pops up, and I look at it. And there's a guy down here that's called PCB Beach TV. I don't know if you've seen that white truck bouncing around or not.
Yeah, I did.
Well, I clicked on that
There was
guy's
kids
video.
on it before.
It is. This guy drives around with his pickup truck. That's all he's doing. Most of the time he's sitting in a gas station. And I was going to write the guy, and I had it all written up, and I'm like, screw this guy. I'm not wasting my time.
Did you
helping
turn
this
off
guy.
the air?
Yeah. Because I didn't want to. I figured you'd be freezing.
I'm dying right now.
Well, go push the on
It's
button.
my drink I had. I'll ask the kids how to do it. There you go, Scott. Oh,
And but it ends up being like there was somebody the other day that had a video, and it was like here's how they were shooting it. I was like, whoa, I'm seasick. And this PCB guy, and what he's got is he's got a 360 camera stuck on a stick on the back of his pickup truck, and he's just driving around with it and not saying anything. There's really no audio in it that you can hear, and it's like 4 hours this one video was, and it's like, oh my gosh, this guy needs to get a life. I thought he was going to be, because I've seen some people that have done stuff on their local community, like Myrtle Beach, or it's Daytona. Somebody that's starting Daytona, they do restaurants, they do the bike week too. They're not really a motorcycle channel, which is fine with me. I understand they're covering what they're doing, but it's most of their videos. You can tell people that are shooting videos that really don't know nothing about a motorcycle rally. And they're trying to document something. Most of them end up standing on Main Street and they just shoot bikes driving up and down the street. Well, I do a little bit of that, but I can't see spending my whole time. Which I did. I got a lot of views on it the other day. We did the video that I was running out of time of us just driving down Front Beach Road. It was about a 25 or 30-minute video, and there's a lot of people said, comment on there, they really liked that ride. I wanted to just say, here's how the traffic looks on Friday night. There it is. There's the ride. Here's what it looks like. If you want to see kind of what it looks like. So I've been trying to put more video clips in of us riding because people seem to like to see us riding more versus us just talking. So you got a lot more of that on these last two rallies. You've seen a lot more of that. A lot more of her camera action. She's got the camera bouncing around in the back, down low, behind us, on the other side, watching the water, seeing people wave. And a lot more people. One of the things I want to say about this was there was a lot more friendlier people. When she goes by the bar, she waves at them. She really didn't have to yell. Sometimes she has to yell at people. Hello, I'm over here, wave at me.
I'm like, make some noise, and they're all like, huh?
Mm-hmm. And these people are like, and as soon as they see the camera up, and she's only got the little camera up, and they're like, I put some on.
Everybody wants to be on camera. They all want to be.
We even had some people walking in. We're in the beach too. That's on tomorrow's video. You'll see
it.
And normally I don't look at them because it's far away shot. I have to zoom in on it, and I had to lighten it up because they're in the dark, and it's cloudy, so they're not. So I fixed a couple of them on the video tomorrow. You can actually see all the people waving, and so that it is a lot more friendlier here than in Daytona.
And probably Myrtle Beach is going to be.
Yeah.
Myrtle Beach is kind of another quickie rally, kind of like Daytona is. Leesburg in here is more friendly people.
Yeah.
You get a lot of people from Alabama, Tennessee. They come here because I guess it's on the western side of Florida.
The panhandle. Working that pan.
Alabama.
And yeah, there's a lot of people next door to us here that are staying. They got a little kid that was screaming all night last night. That
breakfast this morning. It was like, geez, did they bring that kid to the restaurant? Kid right behind us. I'm like, what is that kid screaming about? And Bob, he's like, he's just screaming. There ain't nothing to be screaming about.
There's my question. I had this question today. You're going to come here for a beach vacation, the family. Are you going to bring a kid to the beach that's under a year old? Why? The sun's not going to do that kid any good. If the weather's hot, not going to do the baby very good. Where are you taking the baby on the beach?
Did you not see them walking up and down the boardwalk with the babies and the buggies?
Well, the weather wasn't so bad here, but I mean, I don't know. I just, not that this is a motorcycle rally. I'm just saying, just we took our kids. They were a couple years old. And she could walk. Mindy was the youngest when we took her to Florida.
She was about 18 months old.
But she could walk on her own. She could pretty much fend for herself. She got sick while we were there. I got sick that year too down in Florida. That we got some kind of virus or something. Got the early COVID back in the 80s. And but our kid, well, we talked about that today. Even our grandkids weren't like that.
They never screamed. They never threw fits. Our kids didn't. I'm not saying my kids are perfect, but they never threw a fit. Not in a store, not anywhere.
Well, because somebody doesn't tolerate that.
They got their little arms pinched until they shut up. And well, because that was in the 80s, like the late 80s. If you hit a kid, I mean, you would get like thrown in jail back then. It was like really scary. So I couldn't slap them. So I would just grab their little arm underneath here, and I would just squeeze and squeeze.
And they never grabbed stuff in the store and cried and say, hey,
"I want this, I want this, I want." I would say no, and that was it. I don't know. They just never. And then the boys, when we would take the boys out, I'd always take cars or something for them to play with. They never had a phone in front of them, and they just, we'd color, we'd play tic-tac-toe, whatever, but they never screamed and had a fit.
And now almost every place we go, because I'm always like, I usually say it pretty loud. Somebody needs to smack the hell out of that kid to give him something to cry about. Good old swat on the ass. I'll make sure they got something to cry about when I got done with them.
You want to cry? I'll give you something to cry about.
And this little kid was just screaming. And once again, it was probably under a year old. And just screaming and screaming and screaming. And even after they got the food for the kid's still screaming like a nut. And it's like, slap that ass kid or get the hell out of the restaurant. We don't need to hear your screaming kid for an hour. No need for it.
I don't know. I don't know what the kid was crying about. I mean,
I thought maybe the kid was hungry at first, because we've done that before with the boys grandkids we have, that we're late for lunch. It's the late lunch. Can you bring their food out right away? We'll order their stuff right now. They want the grilled cheese, the mac and cheese, whatever they want, tater tots, whatever they want. Get it now.
Chicken nuggets.
Get their stuff. Order now. That'll be the hors d'oeuvres. Bring their food, and then you can come back and order our food.
Motorcycle riding foods on Temu just popped up for $46.10.
It's a long way to bring you motorcycle food, isn't it?
Temu. That's that, like Wish.
Yeah, I know.
Used to be Wish.
That's Chinese crap.
Yeah.
What are they selling?
46.
Oh, riding food. I wouldn't buy anything. Right now, Temu said that once you buy it, they're charging you 150% increase before it comes. They're charging that in the shipping. I bought some.
Just remember, what was Landon buying all that crap on?
There's some Chinese thing.
Oh
too.
my gosh, you would
He's
have
our
to pay for it. It was like knockoff shoes, like these. They sell tennis shoes for like $2,500, and I'm like, you are nuts. But he would get these knockoffs from this company
for $100.
So he would order it and have to pay for it up front. Then they would tell him when they were going to ship it, and then he'd have to send them money for shipping. And then if there was a price difference before they shipped it, he'd have to send them that money. And I'm like, that don't make any sense. And then it would take him a month to get it. But he thought they were so cool.
Well, his idea is he was trying to sell it to his friends.
For like, and he'd buy them for $100.
Sell for $110.
And then he would sell them to his friends for like $200. So I don't think he did either, but whatever. And they were stupid, ugly shoes for $2,500. I'm like, are you kidding me?
We still don't get along. Purses. We still don't get along with Crocs either.
No, but yeah, and they're almost illegal. They're almost illegal any place. The kids can't wear them in school no more. You can't wear them in a hospital. Nurses used to wear them all the time. Can't wear them in a hospital anymore. No, people fall and break their necks because they don't stay on their feet. Remember the clogs back in the day in the 70s?
People
the clogs?
Might not be that old.
I love those, but man, if you hit your heel on the back of that thing the wrong way, you couldn't walk for a week.
She's telling her disco days.
Oh my gosh! And I fell off my bike. I had platform shoes on.
Why would you ride a bike with a platform shoes?
because I was trying to be styling. And we're riding, and I went to try to stop, and I couldn't get my foot off the thing, and I just, whew. We were going to get our books. We had to go buy your books. Remember, you had to buy your books at the bookstore? It was always right around my
In
birthday.
high school, you rode your bike to high school to buy them? Grade school didn't make you buy books.
No, we had to go to the bookstore. Remember, you had to go to the bookstore, and you had to
Yes.
buy your used books. You had to get there first, so you get the used books, because then you got them for cheaper than buying new books.
You took the used ones back, you pretty much got what you paid for the new
Yeah.
ones. Or what you paid from the first go around.
I think they were $10.
My books always looked the same as they came back because I never opened a book the whole time I was in high school.
I have enough military combat boots and still do. He used to have, whatever happened to your boots? You used to wear them all the time.
My brother got, my
He
foot probably got too big. My brother got them when he was in the service.
Spit shined him every weekend before we went out. And he had to wash the car. I'd get all ready to go out on a date. He'd come pick me up, and we'd go to his house, and he'd have to take a shower, but he wouldn't go anywhere until the car was washed. So while he was inside taking the shower, guess who was outside washing the car before we went out
She
on a
wants to
date?
go right away. Who's going to run around in an old dirty old car? Gotta get my duster looking clean.
That was the Gremlin.
Was it the Gremlin?
Yes.
Mom and Dad had Gremlin. I started out with an old Thunderbird, and it was a piece of junk. Spent way too much money. Spent all my summer money. $2,800 I made in the summer.
And somebody else's money, too.
Yeah, she bought a transmission for me.
That's because you never use your boots in the Air Force. Oh, for 110. They bought the boots. Made in the USA. There you go. That's what you got to buy.
It's hard to find USA.
If you buy stuff from the USA, you don't have to pay them tariffs.
Yeah.
Went through 2 to 3 pairs in a year. Oh, geez, when he was in the service?
Jeez.
I don't know, but anyway, those boots he had, his brother got for him. Nobody had a Gremlin. His dad did.
Yeah, I talked my dad into putting 60 wide tires on the
And
back of
it
that thing.
didn't have power steering.
Had a
And it
bench
was
seat.
had a bench seat, so I always sat next to him.
Bang,
So every
bang.
time he would turn, he would like elbow
Smack
me.
her in the boob.
And I'm like,
Till she'd always put her hand on my leg. And then one time she rode with her dad in the truck and put her hand on her dad's leg. Impulse. So yeah, but I met Thunderbird, and then I bought
the Duster.
Duster. 70. I think it was a 1970 Duster. Maybe a 71. I don't know.
70 or 71. I don't know.
Did a lot of work to that
It
car.
was green. Green on the tree.
Yeah, I switched
It had to be started in reverse.
No, you had to take the key out of it. Reverse.
And he told me I had to start it in reverse. Ran into a bus because I was on a little hill.
It was jacked up real high in the back. It's the same thing. It had 50s in the back of that thing and 70s in the front. Jacked up real high. I took a slant 6 out and put a 318, put 340 heads on it, and intake, 4 barrel, put a 3-speed on the floor. I even cut the floorboard out of another car and put it in there so my column would look good. Put a what?
Neil had a Biscayne. That's another story. Whenever they saw
Radio car.
they would call it a Biscayne. So I thought that was like a POS. They would call it a Biscayne. So one of my first jobs was at a glass company, and they would put glasses in windshields for cars. So my job was to take the orders on the phone and write down the car they had and blah, blah, blah. So a guy calls up and he says, hi, I got a 73 Biscayne. I said, oh, okay. Well, what kind of car is it? It's a Biscayne. Yeah, I know it's a Biscayne, but I mean, what kind of car is it? And he kept saying, it's a Biscayne. And I'm like, what? So I, hold on. And I said, this guy says he's got a Biscayne for a car, and he won't tell me what kind it is. And they all looked at me like I was retarded. And I'm like, what's a Biscayne? And they all said it was a car. And I'm like, I thought it was.
She wasn't totally blonde back then, but my other story is we used to go by this big giant house that had this lake around it, and I always told her, she goes, oh man, I wonder who lives there. I said, that's my grandpa's house, and we'd always come around the back of it. And so later on, after we started dating, this before we were dating, she was in the car with a bunch of friends of ours, and we were going by there one day, and she goes, oh, are we ever going to stop and see your grandpa? I said, my grandpa lives in Ohio. She goes, no, over there at that house, that's a funeral home.
Well, never went around the front of it. We always came in the back when we'd go into Collinsville, Caseyville, whatever that was.
Caseyville.
No, it's in through Fairview Heights.
No, but coming up that back way is Caseyville.
Anyway.
Coming up 161.
Two-door green Nova he had. Janice had. Yeah. Anyway, that was my Biscayne story.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was just a nickname for a junk car. Because that's what they always
We
called
did.
them.
A lot of cars we called Biscayne.
How am I supposed to know?
Then she tells me the story. I'm like, yeah, they make Chevrolet Biscayne. It's like an Impala.
I had an Impala. That was a good car.
It's super sport. And she never got rid of it. She had a 66 Impala Super Sport all stock. Had the original hubcaps on it, a 327, it had slip and slide transmission in it, buckets, mint condition. So we get married.
Backpack.
Right before we get married, she just doesn't have air conditioning. So she's like, I don't like the car. I want something with air conditioning. I want something with air conditioning. And it's like, I don't know, we could get one of those aftermarket ones and put in there, like Sears used to sell. And she's like, no. And so her dad gave her a Buick Wildcat instead, a 4-door Wildcat. And
well, yeah, that was a mistake too, because my car didn't have power steering or power brakes, and so he gave me this Wildcat. And man, I about went through the windshield the first time I stepped on the brakes because I wasn't used to power brakes or power steering. And you see these people now that's got power steering and they turn like this.
Like they're working their muscles.
It's just use your finger and you can turn. I don't know. I don't get it. Our daily most cars were 2 doors. Yes.
And that's what's crazy now with all these people that want 4-door cars. It's like the other day I seen a Maverick.
My dad had a 69 El Camino.
Seen this Maverick on Facebook Marketplace or something. This guy's wanting like $5,500 for this old beat up. Well, it looks like a nice Maverick. In my day, you couldn't give a freaking Maverick away unless it had the big block in it. I mean, who wants a Maverick? And it's like a Pinto or a Vega. You know, if you had one of those cars a day, people would want $5,000-$10,000 for it. And it's like, no, I'm not. They weren't worth nothing back then. They ain't worth nothing now either. There's no way you're looking at that. And it's like, no. I never had a Vega. My brother had a Vega. My dad had a Pinto. And
what was a Pacer? It was a pregnant Pinto,
yeah,
they called it.
Yeah, I had a guy who used to work on his car all the time, a Pacer. And
that was an AMC car too, wasn't it?
Yeah, American Motors, yeah. Then, well, I always wanted to have is AMX. I would like to have a American Motors AMX. Still like to have one though. Like to have a Malibu. Never had a Malibu.
My grandma had a Malibu.
Yeah, but it was a 4-door.
No, was it?
Yeah, but it was an ugly looking 6-cylinder or whatever, 305, and a very big motor. I had a car lot for a while. When I had my garage, I had a car lot. I had a bunch of different cars. She drove around in a big old pimp car. She had a 77 coupe or sedan DeVille Cadillac. Had real low miles on it. Had that. Had a Mazda RX-7 for a while. I drove that around a long time. Had a 78 Rally Z Camaro. Had that green one too. That was a 79, I think, Camaro. That one was.
You had a red Mustang. Was that?
Yeah, there was a 67. So it's been 67. It was all original, but it only had the 6-cylinder in it. So I was going to keep it for my daughter, but ended up my dad screwed it up, and that was the end of that. Had a lot of Jeeps. I really like my Jeeps. I had CJ7s. Had a 76, 77, 78, and a 79 CJ7.
What was the Wildcat, the one I had for my dad?
It's a Buick.
I know.
What year? 72.
Scott said he had a 70.
Yeah, 72 Wildcat.
It was green. A real light green.
Yeah, it looked like it was faded. Had that. We had a station wagon for a while. We had a Ford Esquire wagon.
That blue one?
No, the brown one. When you told him you didn't want that Wildcat anymore, he gave you that station wagon. We had that a short time. I don't know if I traded that in and got that truck. My first full-size truck. I got that 75 Chevy that ended up being they'd already bonded it all up, and right after I got it, the whole damn truck fell apart. Had to put all new quarter panels and fenders on the thing.
I couldn't tell you how many cars we had.
Too many.
68 Chevy SS, but it sucked.
We had a Love truck. We had a 71 Chevy Love truck. She thought she was going to deliver our first babies with that truck.
Yes, I did.
The guy had put big old 4-wheel drive tires on a 2-wheel drive, and it started shaking, and the steering wheel would start shaking on
And
it.
it bounced. We had to go over this bridge every day, and I was,
She said, "You're going to have babies in that truck."
thought I was going to.
And then let's see what else we had for
Perez.
cars. We had a Ford Fairmont. We got that when we thought we were going to have our first set of kids, and had that. We had a bunch of conversion vans. We had several of those. Had a GMC truck. Had a Dodge truck.
Had International.
Yeah, I had an International pickup. It was like a 1970 or 69 International.
You had a dump truck. You had a
Yeah,
tow
dump
truck.
Yeah, had tow truck, dump truck.
Thanks, Giuliano.
Had a 55 Chevy. Had a 76 Thunderbird. I love that. I should have kept that. And the guy got it and totaled it out. Had really low miles on it, 2-door, all leather.
Kind of a Chrysler Newport or something, and my dad got me that. I took the bus down, and he got me a car to come back.
Yeah. And let's see what else we had. We had a Dodge van. We had all the conversion, or all the vans when we had the business.
What was the Mack tool truck, and then the old red truck that didn't have any floorboard.
Both of those were GMCs. And then we had S10 truck. That's when she got totaled out on. Somebody hit her.
Somebody pulled out in front of me. I hit them, but they pulled out right in front of me.
We pulled out of a Walmart parking lot. Wasn't watching. And we've had a couple Mustangs. The first Mustang was an 80. Was that 84? What's that black one?
That black one. It was a 4-speed.
Or was it 94? Maybe it was 94.
It was a 4-speed.
Yeah, 5-speed. Then we traded that in.
And got a Zuzu.
Yeah, we had a Zuzu.
Rodeo.
Bought that used. It was about the only foreign car I ever owned. Well, the Love Truck was a foreign car. I haven't had very many foreign cars in my life. We've had a lot of Fords.
Scout.
And we got the Ford truck now.
RPM at 55 miles an hour. He has Scout 2, straight 6. And Dean Kelly did.
Yeah, the International was a pickup truck, a half-ton pickup we had. I mainly bought that to put a sign in the back because when I had my gas station, they wouldn't allow you to put no signs up. The city wouldn't allow it, so I put a sign in the back of the truck. So I drove the truck back and forth every morning into the garage. Then I took it down to when I opened up my other garage. I took it down there, and I must have sold it on the car lot. But I put a big old giant wooden bumper on it because I had no bumper on it.
Yeah.
I was using it for the push button to push cars in and out of the garage. It didn't run. So did that. We had to ride a truck too. We had that was a Dodge too, that little 10-foot truck. I used to use it for my demo derby. I've been in demo derbies. I've driven cars in demo derbies, 2 of them. Had 3 cars one time.
What was the little blue
that was
station wagon we had?
Oh, that was a Chrysler.
That's the one Kimberly lost her doggy and finally found it in the back.
It was I want to say a Valari, but I don't know if it was a Valari or not. Oh, you had your Nova, 64 4-door Nova. Oh, she had a Porsche, 911 Porsche. Got caught driving on the sidewalk. I made her, sold that and got her a 64 4-door Nova with a 6-cylinder with baby moon hubcaps on it. Looked like grandma driving it.
It was a box.
Didn't even have air in it. I was teaching her to quit driving on the sidewalk. Somebody called up and said,
people need to learn how to drive.
Is your wife driving a yellow Porsche? And I'm like, yeah, why? Because she's in front of the high school driving down the sidewalk.
Behind the high school. Good night, Janice.
So
you've been on it 1 hour and 45 minutes.
We're about ready to wrap it up then.
Teal vehicles in your younger years. Gene taught me to drive in that Scout. That's cool.
And then sold motorcycles for a while too. Had a whole bunch of different motorcycles that I was riding all the time on. But I worked on Rolls Royces. I had a customer had Rolls Royce. Had one had an Austin Martin. Worked on that. Had a lady that had a 55 T-Bird. Loved working on her car. Worked on that all the time. Her husband died, and I'd go up and get it. But then after I rode that, I always wanted an old T-Bird. I would never want an old vintage car like that because those suckers ride like crap. The steering wheel, you're driving down the road like this to keep it on the road, and it's just, I don't know. It's cool to run around town with, but to take it out on the highway, it was a mess. So I've driven just about every kind of car. Didn't really drive a lot of foreign. I did a lot of Toyotas and Datsuns back when Datsun was out there, and Nissan.
Opals. My aunt had an Opal.
Yeah, my brother had an Opal. He had that little Opel wagon or something. He had. I always wanted that. I always wanted the Pinto wagon, the one that looked like a van.
Hmm.
And when they came out, it was like 77 or 78. They came out with those. I always wanted the van. We ended up with one.
3.
Yeah. And I had one of that. We count the ones that in the DJ business. We had 3 vans
The
there.
circus van.
Yeah, the party van.
Yeah.
We had a 15-passenger van I bought.
And that looked like a clown car when everybody got out. We had all the kids in the back, no seats. We were driving.
Well, we went to New Orleans in it.
And it was,
took out just the
oh
back
my
seat.
gosh.
The other ones were still.
Well, no, when we went and we rented one, we went to St. Louis, and then the guy opened the door, and they all started coming out, and they're like, "Geez, how many people do you have back there?" Remember, we went to St. Louis and rented a van,
I don't remember.
and they
You
were
sure I
all,
came?
"Oh yeah, I would. She wouldn't have went without you." Oh, you guys, from my stomping ground, I grew up in Granite City. I just heard you say something about Collinsville and Fairview Heights.
We lived in Belleville most of our
Illinois.
life, and
I was born in East St. Louis.
we also lived in Washington, Missouri. We lived there, and lived there before we moved to California. Lived in California for 17 years in Southern California, and then we got the place in Arizona. We've had that for a little over 10 years. And
the Gremlin his dad had was, I guess was it a brown color?
Yeah, but it was cool.
Looked, sometimes it looked purple, sometimes it looked navy blue, sometimes it looked black.
Yeah, it was just this really metal flake color that came, and then my dad wanted to buy snow tires for it, and so I talked him into putting 60 wide tires on the back of the thing, so they were sticking out of the side. And I don't know, my dad bought some stupid stuff, but he always, I don't know.
What was that little car he had that wouldn't even make it up a hill?
Oh, that was a Chevette.
It was little bitty, and it was
it was something wrong with the car. It was.
I said
I never drove.
To feed those
I never rode it. You must have rode with them because I don't.
I don't know. I remember it wouldn't even.
They bought that, but when they went to Chicago,
yeah,
they bought that from the Chevrolet dealer, and it was using a quart of oil every 1,000 miles. And they told them if they rebuilt it, they couldn't guarantee it, so they dumped it. And my mom found a '78 Bonneville, and this is like in 1980.
81,
that had been lost in a warehouse and had no miles on it.
They were taking it to demos to show like the new models, and it got left on this train, and it was a brand new 1978. She bought in 80 or 81.
Yeah.
Bonneville.
Yeah. 4-door Bonneville.
Well, thank you, Scott. We appreciate you too.
And my dad bought a truck one time. He bought this GMC truck.
Do you have our number?
And so I jump in the truck. My dad gets home with it. And I said, I'm going to run up to the pizza place with it. So I run up to the pizza place. And this is before anybody had phones. And so I finally come back a couple hours later. And he's like, I got to take the truck back. Take it back where? Back to the dealer. Why? Because your mom. Well, my mom didn't go along with him to buy the truck. She made him take it home.
As we went to prom, and his dad had a 78 Ford F100.
I thought we took the Gremlin.
The prom?
Yeah.
We took your dad's truck.
I don't think we took the truck. Took that to the motel and all that too?
We took the truck, the black truck.
I think we took the Gremlin.
What was the truck? Anyway.
I don't remember that.
I do. I was trying to look to make sure we had Scott's phone number here. He said he wrote us.
I don't know. But back in the day. And so yeah,
those were the
we've owned a lot of cars. We've lived in a lot of places. I've had a lot of jobs. Never got fired from a job. Got laid off once. But quit most of my jobs. I have a low tolerance to work with stupid people. And that's my biggest problem.
Doesn't play well with others.
Yeah. And my problem is I don't do things that aren't right. So when I was a mechanic or when I worked at the gas company was probably my best job I've ever, well, actually it's the longest place I've ever worked. I worked 17 years. No place else I ever worked that long. And the idea was I did my own job. So you went out in the day, you serviced appliances or whatever you did, turn gas on or take a meter, whatever you did. Well, I could always do my job right because there was nobody there to tell you not to do it. Well, the problem when I was a mechanic is they come in and say, car need a brake job, and the rotors are all chewed up. And they're like, just throw pads on it. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. They need rotors. It's not going to be a good brake job. They're not going to be able, still not going to be able to stop. The rotors are all chewed up. You're going to chew the new pads right up. And they're like, do it anyway. And I'm like, goodbye. I quit. Load my box up and down the street I went. And so I worked a lot of different shops. I worked at dealerships. Same thing. Sold Mac Tools for a while. Told somebody that. I've been a service manager. I've owned a couple businesses. And here I am. Best job I had was working at the gas company. I should have done that 30 years before that. I could have retired with a great pension and probably wouldn't be doing this. Don't know what I'd be doing. Should stay in the service. Should have went in the service too. That was my other thing I should have done.
I got it, Scott.
Two things I regret. 1979, we were going to go in the service as buddy in the service. And I would have stayed in for life because that was back when they were giving you all the free benefits, medical and base privileges for your whole life, all that. I would have just stayed in for the whole 20 years. And I would have got out when I was about 40 years old, and I would have gone and did anything I wanted to do. Got a friend that did that. I wished I would have done that. But that's hindsight.
2020.
Yeah. And that would have been better because at that point was I scored the highest in electrical. So we were all set to go. All we had left to do was sign the paper and go. We'd already went over to the center in St. Louis to where we were going to be shipped out of because she would have had to go to one base and I would have gone to another first, and then we would have put back together after basic training. And we were all set up to go. And I scored the highest in that, but I really wanted to be an auto mechanic. That's what I wanted to be. They're like, well, you really scored high in electrical. We really could use you doing that. And I'm like, no, I want to do a mechanic. And she was just going to do office work or whatever. And she was no particular.
Did we know a Bell family in St. Louis?
No.
I went to school with like a Robert Bell, but that was like in junior high.
So the only people I really knew in St. Louis is both my aunts
moonshine?
lived in St. Louis. One lived in Ferguson, where they had all that trouble at, and the other one lived in Florissant. Other than that, well, she had an uncle who lived over in St. Louis. Uncle Leon. He lived downtown. Lived by drugstore.
Globe
Drugstore. And but I don't know if he probably didn't live in St. Louis his whole life.
Good night, Scott. I texted you. I did find your number.
When we talk about towns, her grandpa used to live down in DeSoto,
Missouri.
And down by Arnold. You gotta go past Arnold to get to DeSoto.
Benton.
Her other grandma lived over there. She lived down there in the Blue
Piedmont.
Hills, Piedmont, Missouri. Lived down there. So we had a lot of people off and on lived in Missouri.
Email us.
We knew a lot of people. Actually, we were just talking to Joey at All About Customs, and his wife Carol that works there. She kind of has family down in Washington, Missouri. We were talking about that at a different time, that we may know some of the same people. It's kind of unique.
Manners.
And then her parents actually live out in Arizona. So you're looking for
the email.
Oh, I'm sitting too long. Ooh-wee.
At yahoo.com. There you go.
Bye.
So email us your information and we'll try to catch up with you at, where'd the comments go? At Clay, email us. I don't think I already have your number, but if you email us there, your information, your phone number, and then I'll text you back our number, and then hopefully we can meet up with you. I'm only going to be there till the 12th of May. Well, actually, the 11th, because the 12th I'm leaving. So if you get there early, I'll be able to see you. Otherwise, he'll be there. I'm going to see my our oldest grandson, graduate high school. Like a well-nursed, fresh-diapered baby. You guys going to Vietnam? We would no. It would have been after that because that would have been in '79.
What?
If we would have went.
Oh no, there was no war, nothing going on. Mm-hmm. I was actually when we were in high school, the draft was still going on. So actually, when we went to the gas station, when we opened the gas station in 1980? Yeah.
Yeah.
The draft was still going on because me and my buddy, when we went up there, I took one of my buddies up there. We had to still go to the post office and register still. But then that next year, I think 81 or something is when they dropped the draft. So we never got drafted. The only people that got drafted was my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law is 70 now. Isn't Larry 70? 71, 72. So he was his number came up for draft. And he ended up enlisting because he did that way. He could pick what he wanted to do. My brother never got drafted. He went in the service. They went in way before I ever did. My brother went in.
Because he's 5 years older.
Yeah.
Larry's 7 years older.
Yeah. So my
Almost
brother
8.
probably when we were in Washington. When he,
Started at 73,
so it'd be
74 maybe.
yeah, probably around that time.
Because he had Nicole in 78.
Yeah, because
that's when they moved back.
Yeah.
In 74, so he was in 4 years.
Yeah.
So William, where do you wanting to know where we're staying at? Where did you two stay? In Panama City? We stayed at the Palomino Resort. It's on the very west side of Panama City Beach on Front.
Right next door to McGuire's new restaurant.
And then we're staying
Myrtle
with
Beach.
Stephen in Myrtle Beach.
At his house.
Stephen's not on tonight.
Yeah, he could be at church or something.
Yeah. The draft is why I joined, and I had to be a grunt. Too many people were dying.
And like my buddy Art, he went in the service. He didn't get drafted.
I enlisted in 67, 6 years. Stephen did. He's on now.
Oh, okay.
He just popped on, or he just messaged. I didn't see him on. So that's where we're staying, at his house in Myrtle Beach.
If he wants to give out his address, that's his business. If we don't, we're not telling you where he lives. We don't normally tell people where we're at.
Nice place. So are you from here, William? Down in Panama City Beach here?
And next year, if we come back, we're probably going to start looking, like maybe in Daytona too, if we don't get something sponsored, maybe some Airbnbs. Now, we might be interested in another couple or something that would want to share a house with us. We might consider that, and then we'll see how things go. Something else I was going to, that's what I was going to say. So Monday, she's leaving of Bike Week in Myrtle. So the 12th, she's leaving. So from the 13th on, I'm there by myself. So if you're interested in hanging out or following what I do or do some rides with me, you're more than welcome to do that. I usually don't know what I'm doing until the next day. I don't have anything planned out usually. Right now, I don't have no clue what's going on.
Because I guess I'm going to leave him this phone because I don't know how else you're going to be able to get a hold of him because I can't get a hold of him. Because he doesn't answer his phone.
That's right. Nobody important calls me. They leave a voicemail or they send me a text or send me an email. That's what I determine. I look at all the emails.
Email. Yeah, if you email him, that's probably the best way to get a hold of him. And because he looks at those every morning.
Look at them all day long.
Anyway, that's the best way to get a hold of him. So I'll probably leave this phone with him. Because it's got everybody, all you guys in it.
And so probably don't have I don't know what I'll be doing everything. Down Merle's Inlet a lot in the evening. We'll be checking out the dealership. We'll be up at Frank Brown Park. Find a bunch of cool places to eat. Be eating at Mammy's. Steven's got a few places that he likes to go eat at, so we'll probably go do some stuff with him. So I don't know, Steven, are you working at the dealership this year, or are you not doing nothing?
I don't think so.
You don't think he's working at the dealership again?
I don't think he didn't do it really last year either.
I thought he did.
It was the year before, and they about killed the poor guy. Yeah. He working 10 to 12 hours a day. He had to go home and soak in the tub for a couple hours, take a nap, and get up and go back to work. I was like, "Geez, Stephen, I'd say I'll work a couple days, maybe 5 hours."
I think he was going to do that, and they ended up using him because nobody else showed up.
I don't know, but I felt bad. Yeah, we didn't get to see him much that year, and they worked his buns off. I know that was for sure. Yeah. So. All
right. So any more questions before we wrap it up? Because we're just about ready to wrap this up because I'm getting tired too. We got to take our showers yet, and then we got to get up really early tomorrow. Somebody's got to get up right about 5:30. I only need about 20 minutes before I get up. Brush my teeth, put loop in my hair.
And put clothes on.
That's right. And out the door I go. I'm done. I'm like, what are you waiting on? She got to put her face on. She got to do her hair.
Well, he says, doesn't matter if you wear makeup or not, because I don't care if I wear makeup. I don't really care. So a couple times I do. We go out, and he's like, you got makeup on? I'm like, no. He says, you look really plain. I'm like, you're the one that said doesn't matter. I don't care. And it takes me a lot less time just to wash my face and run out the door than to put on makeup.
She puts all of her makeup's got to go on this little assembly line.
Or I'll forget to put something on.
After all these years, which I can't really believe it's taken me this long to figure it out, that she has OCD.
They should have done that years
I
ago
should have.
because he knows I like things to match and things have to be very symmetrical. I can't hang. It's got to be.
Well, the towels can't fold anything. If I folded all the towels and put them in the cabinet, she'd open the cabinet and pull them all back out and fold them all back up again.
Because my mom said there was only one way to fold towels. You have to fold them in half, and then in thirds. That's the way. If you go to any store, yeah, he's like, he just throws them in there. He doesn't
They're
care.
clean. They're going to hang on a hanger anyway or hang on a thing.
No, no, no. Let's go to Captain Archie's, Steven says.
There you go. He likes Captain Archie.
Yes, he does.
So he's not working. Is that what he's saying?
Yes, I guess.
No dealer.
Maybe fall rally. William says he'll come down for Panama City Beach. I never signed up for the draft. You volunteered, huh? Good night all to the Pettingers, Neil says. I turned 18 in that July.
Most of the people I knew, a lot of the friends.
I was 18 in high school.
My buddy Danny that I went to school with, he went into service right away. Same thing, couldn't find a really good. Most of the problem we had in 79 when we graduated, 78, 79, was the economy really sucked. Things were going downhill. I actually worked at a Lincoln Mercury dealer all through my last 2 years of high school. I worked at a dealership and thought that would be my job. And right as soon as we got married in September, I got laid off in December. And I belonged to union and all that. And that's when I thought, and I tried to look around, couldn't find jobs. And I was like, I can't do this.
So we were all signed up and ready to go in. And then the weekend before
my dad called and he was living up by Chicago and said, hey, would you like to, I talked to the Chevrolet dealer. They're looking for somebody to come work it there. And I'm like, I don't know. What do you think? And she's like, I don't know. Let's go up there and let's see. So we went and visited my parents.
By yourself.
Yeah, I went to the interview and they hired me. And so during that time, there was a gas station, a Skelly station that was right in front of my parents. They lived in a condo back behind this gas station. And the very first time I went there, before I ever got this job, I always said, man, I'd really be interested in what they want for that gas station. So my dad said, well, I'll call for you. And so I'm like, all right. So and meanwhile, he told me about this job that was coming up. And it's like, well, I'll go up there and see. Well, it seemed like a really nice place. It was a nice community and stuff. My parents were up there. So I stayed, we lived with my parents. So we came up there. You were there for a while, weren't you? Didn't you stay with my parents too? Or is that before we moved?
We moved.
And then, so then we got an apartment up there. And so what it ended up being was, I worked at this, I probably wasn't even there 6 months, was I?
I don't think you were that long.
And so I started getting this gas station going. It was looking like, well, my dad found out it was only going to cost $600 a month for rent. And I'm like, well, that's not bad. But they wanted, you had to pay for your first load of gas. And it was like $5,000 or something. So mom and dad said, we'll give you the $5,000 to get it going. Well, we had dated for 2 years before we got married. So what I did is I always had a part-time job and she had a full-time job the last year. I was in high school still. So I said, you put all your money away and we'll spend my money for going out and stuff and eating or whatever. And then her parents paid for the gas and all that crap in her car anyway, insurance and all that. So when we got married, we had about $8,000 saved up. So when I got up there, I heard about this auction. This old gas station was going out of business. Well, it wasn't too far from the town that I worked at, Princeton, Illinois. I don't know where this little town was at. It was selling all this stuff. So they had a tire changer.
Right, Streeter.
So no, it wasn't Streeter. Streeter's the other way. So they were, because a bunch of guys from work were there. And I was buying all these old Chilton and motor books and stuff on old cars and working on them. And they had this tire machine, and I bought this tire machine, and I bought a couple other things. The guys came over and said, what are you doing? I said, what do you mean, what am I doing? I'm just buying some equipment. And they're like, you're up to something. I'm not me, I'm just buying some stuff, throwing it back in my pickup truck and haul it home. Haul it to the gas station because we weren't open yet. And so my buddy came from Southern Illinois. I called him up and said, do you want to come up? And because he'd been working in this gas station, not making any money. I said, you want to come up here and we'll work here. You can work it during the week and I'll come in after work and I'll work on the weekends with you. And because I only worked Monday through Friday at the dealership. And so I worked there for a while. So we had the gas station, I don't know, it must have been at least 6 months. So we probably had the gas station open 2 or 3 months and it started getting really busy. He was starting to get some work in there, oil changes and stuff. We had 2-bay garage. And so I was good. I go in that morning and I'm like, the guy. I walk up and I go, well, I need to talk to you today. He says, I need to talk to you too. And he says, you go first. I said, well, I said, I really hate to do this to you, but I'm going to have to put in my 2 week notice because I got this gas station going. I thought I could work longer here. I need to go back there. And he's like, wow, that really works out. And I'm like, why is that? And he said, because I was going to lay you off today. And I'm like, really? So I said, it all worked out great. So I don't know if I worked that week or if that was the last day. And I said, goodbye. And I left. And so we had the gas station for almost 4 years. But every year they raised my rent. It went from $600 to $1,200 to $2,400. Then when they got ready to go, it must have been only 3 years.
Yeah, because Kimberly was born in.
They were getting ready to go to like $2,800 a month to rent, and I'm like, I could go buy a building for this. This isn't. It's only 2 bays. It's not. I had a pretty good business.
Corner.
Yeah, we were right on the corner, right across the street from McDonald's. Had a grocery store behind us. Had a Ford dealership next door to us.
The bank.
And had pretty good clientele. We did quite a bit of work. I rented Ryder trucks. Had a bunch of them we rented out and did all right. And so my dad ended up quitting his job, and he came to work with me the last year. He ended up taking care of all the gas. My buddy left us. He got homesick and went back home to Southern Illinois. So it ended up being me and my dad. My dad took care of the gas station part, and I took care of the garage part. I did all the repair work and everything. So then when I got ready, her dad kept hounding us to come back to Southern Illinois. Well, I found this garage down the street, sitting on this acre of ground. It used to be an old Texaco station. Her dad used
old Texaco station.
Yeah, he never owned the property. He just had
he
it
was
through
the
Texaco.
Manager there.
And so this car lot used to own it. They said they're very interested in talking to you. So I came back down there and I went in there and talked to this guy. It was old man Richardson, and owned it. And I knew them. My brother used to cut grass for them. Wheaton Davis used to have car lots and all that. He used to cut grass for him when he was a kid. So I went in there and they said, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, my brother and I maybe would like to open up, take this and make a garage out of it. He said, what do you need? I said, well, I need to come up with a price. And the guy says, I'll sell it to you for $125,000. I said, well, with a small business loan, we're going to need a couple months time. He said, no money down, nothing.
He says, you come up with the money, I'll sell it to you. He didn't think they'd get the money.
Yeah, 3 months later, we get approved of the loan. We walk in the door, and I said, it's all done. He's like, I didn't really want to sell it because it was worth more money than what he was selling it for. He just thought we were young kids and had no way I would ever get money to buy it. So I ended up buying that, bought that corner. The station was run down. We had to buy a twin post lift to put inside. I brought a lot of my equipment I had. I had a pipe vendor. I used to do bend exhaust when I had my gas station. Brought that down. Brought a lot of the stuff that I had bought up there down. My brother had no money. He came in with no money down on the whole deal. And same thing happened there. My brother was with me a couple of years, and then he decided he wanted to make more money and he wanted to leave. So then it was back to me working by myself, and my mom came and helped me, did bookkeeping for me, and I ended up hiring a mechanic, and ended up hiring a high school kid to help clean up the garage and do stuff like that. And my problem with that business was I was too good I did things too cheap. And so after a while, somebody came up one day and offered me money to buy the shop out. A gas station company wanted to buy the property, and I said, yeah. I signed the paperwork. They planned on closing in 30 days. And 30 days came, and
they backed out.
Yeah, and I had sold most equipment in the shop. I thought everything was a go, and so we sat there for 3 months with no business, and I had to go find another job. And finally, the same company came back and bought it again, and paid me less money, and the interest rate changed, and I got screwed all the way around. So that was the last business we originally owned.
Mississippi River Festival. Yes.
Is somebody talking about that?
Yeah, moonshine. He wanted to know if we went a couple of times. He went more before we met.
My sister used to go a lot.
I was in Edwardsville.
Yeah. I think back then, I seen REO Speedwagon. I've probably seen Aerosmith there.
We went. We saw Doobie Brothers and somebody else. I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, one of my friends, well, actually one of my brother's friends, which is one of my friends now, he's got pictures from back then, and he went back there and explored it, and some of the stuff is still there, like some of where they used to mount the light stands and all that, and the speakers. Those things are still there, but you got to dig into the woods to get back in there. I don't really know why that ever really closed. I don't really remember what happened. I mean, it was like a big hippie type concert type thing. When my parents went, They went with me. Took me one time because I back then with the Partridge Family was on TV. And actually, I thought when I went with my mom and dad, I thought it was going to be the Partridge Family, and it was just David Cassidy was there, the only one that was there.
Right.
And I went there when I was a little kid, probably before, might have been before. I don't know when that was. Whenever that show was on TV. Uh,
But yeah, we've been there.
yeah, so we've done
Dave's
that.
here, man. We're leaving. Neil says we need to leave. We look like we're both about ready to fall
Yeah,
asleep.
getting tired.
So,
Getting tired.
thanks for hanging out with all of us. We appreciate all you guys. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have a channel. We love you all and appreciate you, all your support. Thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to support our sponsors. That's who gets us to all these rallies. And tell them Bob and Tam sent you. We'll see you in Myrtle Beach. That's our next rally. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Share us with your family and friends. Give us a big thumbs up. Ring that bell for notifications. We'll see you on the next video.
So tomorrow's video is coming out. That's our Saturday. So for Neil, it'll be 11 o'clock in the morning. For Pacific,
We'll see you
it's
tomorrow
12.
night.
1 o'clock for
Hey, Crispy
Mountain
Cake.
Time, 3 o'clock for Central Time, and 5
Night,
o'clock
Neil.
for Eastern Time.
Didn't see
So
him there.
check all that out. That'll be coming out. And then we'll have
9.
a Tuesday night. I should have together a video
Central.
for Sunday wrap-up day here. Kind of show you what it looks like when nobody's here. It's kind of neat to drive along the beach here and stuff. There wasn't a whole lot of traffic. It wasn't too bad. We made it over to Pineapple Willie's. We got a little video from there. Went out to Sharky's tonight. Had dinner out there. So we got a few more last minute places that we normally would go to that didn't make it to. Went down to the beach. So you'll see an intro and an exit on that video of the beach on Sunday. We actually went down into the sand and stuff. We thought, yeah, at the beach. We never made it down there. She never stuck her foot in the water. It's crowded today. A lot of people on the beach.
Yeah, there was.
Probably the most I've seen on the beach since we've been here.
But like I said, the red flags have been up. So
Yellow
today
flag
was
today.
yellow flag was today. So yeah, we're in Central Time right now because we're in the Panhandle, the western side of the state. So it's only 9 here, but it's still late because we're gonna lose an hour tomorrow. Going out to see Steven. We'll see you tomorrow night, Steven. Shut up, it's supper time.
All
Good
right.
night.
Bye.
We'll see y'all later.
See ya in Myrtle.
One last time.